Your bride comes a fall. Did anyone hear you call as you drove your Volvo into a canal? Oh, this is it. I love you, but I've nowhere else to go. I'm a depressio. I'm a depressio.
When we had Jim in, and he was just telling us about, like, we were just basically going through a bit of his timeline and stuff of like where he started and like where he's ended up now, and like I think it was about the time when I was like, and then you opened your fourth bar and you're running a festival and band management at the same time, and you were just sat there like in the corner. I could just see you like.
I was listening to the podcast like
what
this.
What the fuck is going on with this guy, man? Like, how's he doing all that stuff?
I was listening to it and I was like, he'd talk about some of the stuff and I'm like, oh fuck, I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember that. I was there for that, and it's crazy, and it's crazy the amount of things he's done. It's incredible, really.
Yeah.
To be anxiety, all the things that he would do.
Yeah.
Like all together,
just
gaining control of all of it.
Very like highly functional person, isn't he? That just knows, he switched on to it, so he knows with the bars and stuff, like, this is why this bar works, and make nice drinks because the girls are the ones who dictate the night out. So if they can only get a nice drink, the lads will just drink lager. You get that anywhere. So we'll have nice cocktails and lager and we're fine. And I'm like, yeah. And it
smashes it, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's great. And obviously a big part of what got Pedalo going as well.
Yeah.
With that.
Well, we're now here with, what, is this episode 57?
God, yeah, I think so. 57, yeah.
Yeah, we're here with Rob Nicholson, who is the other half of Pedalo with Jim. But when Jim was in, he said, well, that's just Rob. Because at the end, I was like, we didn't even touch on Pedalo. And in the bio, it says, this is Rob and Jim. But he said, it's just Rob. So, I mean, I think he recognises the work split maybe at the moment.
Yeah.
Currently.
When we kind of said, when I decided, this was something I wanted to do, and it came about because it was locked down. So I just got, I got this camera and I've been messing around at home with it.
Yeah. And can I just be real geek on it? What camera did you have? What tech?
I would like to know that.
Yeah, I got a second-hand Sony A7.
Yeah, boy.
Beautiful. Okay.
Harrison cameras.
Ooh. Nice. Is that on London Road?
On London Road.
London Road in Sheffield, if you know it.
I paid about £500 for it, I think.
No.
Because it was like an old one. So it's like the first of the A7 series.
Okay, I was going to say £500, so it's not like a Mark II. It's
no,
like
it was like it was just A7. It was like the first
still
one.
The bollocks, though.
It was great. I mean, there's probably photos that I've done with that are still some of my favourite ones from like early days of shooting things. And I got my brother gave me a couple of lenses because he was into his photography as well.
What lenses?
Can I just ask just real quickly?
Sorry.
No. We'll talk about lenses as well. When people are selling cameras, they always say stuff about like the shutter count and stuff.
Yeah.
So what does that do to a camera? Like the more shutter count, the worse, the more likely it's going to fail.
Because it's mechanical, it'll just wear out after a bit. So if you're, I mean, I don't protect my shutter count whatsoever. I'll happily burst photo all the time when I'm doing
So if you're
a gig.
bursting, you're using that
it's
more.
literally open close.
Interesting.
So it's opening and closing. So your shutter count is like how many times it's open and closed.
And once that's gone, it's not fixable. It's like the camera's done kind of thing.
I don't think you can fix it. I don't think maybe that's time for a new camera because it's like built into the sensor. You might be able to, but I guess it's a bit like I've got a car that's done 400,000 miles. Like, how much am I going to keep putting into this to keep it running?
Before long it becomes just like it's a relic or it's scrapped or whatever.
Yeah.
So and then lenses you were saying about. Sorry, I interrupted that one.
No, I just wondered what lenses.
I got what did he give me? He gave me a 35mm like Zeiss lens that he had.
Any Sigmas?
No, I didn't have any Sigmas. I had a Samyang one.
Samyangs are cool.
And then I think just like a 50mm like Sony kit lens, I think.
Yeah,
nice.
And that's kind of how I started.
And do you have from where you started? Do you have like a standard setup now that you like? Oh, this is real nice to shoot on. Like this is my kit. Kind of thing?
I've always used Sony. Apart from when I go anywhere, if I go like traveling, I got really into like traveling on my own to play. I mean, people said, "Oh, you're like really well traveled." I'm like, "Well, no, I just go to like New York and Spain a lot. Like, I just go to those two countries, but I go to like Barcelona quite a few times, like every year almost, pretty much since I started going." And I take a little Ricoh GR3, which is like a little street camera. Yeah. That again I got from Harrison, which was quite expensive. It was like $1,000, but it's like this big. It's like the size of your phone, but it's like 24 megapixel. Beautiful, incredible. Like some of the photos I've taken. Some of the photos I've taken on there are like of what I like sell as print. So there's some of like Barcelona, like the Sagrada. When I went to Barcelona, I went to the Nobu and had dinner at Nobu, and then went up onto the roof bar and I'd walked from the Sagrada to Nobu, which was like a 15-kilometer walk or something like that. Might be exaggerating, but it was long, something like an hour. And I just saw the Sagrada like there in front of me with these lines of all the streets, because Barcelona's just like a big grid. It is, I've been to Barcelona. Beautiful, and I just saw it there. I was like, well, that's a photo. That's the spot. Yeah, took it, did a bit of tweak. Because this is the cranes. I'm like, I'll just airbrush them out and make it look nice, and then sold it as a print, and people were buying it. I did the same with like went to New York, took like a really good one of the Ghostbusters building and class. Like up. But basically, I kind of justify Pedalo paying for my holiday because I'm like, well, I'll take some photos and I'll sell them, so it's a work trip. Mate, absolutely, That's how I'll do it. But then also the photos are selling, so they clearly are good. So it's a work trip, man. Yeah. Anything you can strike off from HMRC at the end of the year.
I was never good at like taking photos. In fact, I didn't like it. I was just more of an editor kind of guy. I thought it was really hard to take a good photo. My brother is quite naturally good at framing stuff. It's weird. To take a photo is like really, especially if you have a vision for it, it's kind of like difficult, I found. Yeah, I think I guess you kind of learn that as you start to do it. Or you maybe kind of have like a natural maybe eye anyway, even if you're not. Like I'm technically, when it comes to sort of specs, and I've watched camera channels like Gerald Undone, and he's like giving you all these specs about the Sony AIM-1 Mark II, and I'm like, I have no fucking clue what you're talking about. Like, does it take a good photo? Is it going to video well? Yeah. That's all I'm bothered about, really. So I'm not very technical. So when it comes to gear, I just tried to like make it work for me, especially in the early days with like all the secondhand stuff. Like just get a good shot out of it and figure it out and learn it. And maybe that is the best way to kind of learn on stuff that doesn't work. Like musicians with sort of old guitars that get great tunes out of them because they've just figured it out to work. And
I've said this to so many DJs, like modern time learning young DJs. Like I learned to DJ on the worst equipment possible, but it was the best thing that I ever did, really. Yeah. Because I was like, if I can learn to navigate this awful battered pair of CDJ 800s and they like skip every time. I'm not talking about yours. I'm talking about the ones the wick at both ends. I mean, they were like, you'd skip every time you slightly touched it or jogged it out, and you have to learn how to like navigate things when you can't press play. Like how can I DJ with one deck, or like one that's doing this or one that's doing that, or one where the pitch fader don't work? You have to get real inventive and like jam your tunes in a different way. But that probably made me DJ in a better way, really, because like now when I get presented with a brand new pair of CDJ 3000s, I'm like, that's a piece of piss. This can you make it more difficult? Like, can you sellotape some of the buttons down? I think
there's definitely something in the challenge of it, making it more like it's. I can't remember how to think of
it. Almost shapes like who you become as an artist as well. Like I know I feel like C6 Steve has kind of been debunked a bit now as like, oh, it was just a good story or something. But the way that he had like the guitar with 3 strings because that's all he had, and it changed, it shaped the way that he played, and then therefore the music that he made was limited by what he could do with what he had, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, like Tony Iommi with half his fingers burnt off, those little wax things he made, and they worked. And
Sheffield reference as well. Def Leppard drummer. Had to learn to drum with his feet.
I saw his drum kit once. So before all of like photography and everything, I used to work at Sheffield Arena with some mates.
Amazing.
And I was part of like the cleaning team basically. So you would go in at like 9 at night.
Yeah.
And you'd kind of catch a bit of what was going on stage. Like literally stand at the side of the stage and kind of watch like Destiny's Child or something or things like that. So you kind of like, this is pretty cool. And then you would like clean up afterwards. So
that's Beyonce's confetti there.
It's pretty mad. You would do. Like
you found some crazy things cleaning up.
Yeah, because so your first sort of part of the shift would be like crowd clears out, I always used to hang back because I was probably like a little bit embarrassed about doing it. But the crowd's clearing out, you're there with your broom and your sweet, you know, you collected all the plastic pint pots and all that kind of thing. So I kind of like hand back when anyone to see me, you know, because at the time I was also like in bands with my mates I was working with. I'm like, you know, we're too fucking cool.
Yeah,
so you don't want to see me cleaning stuff. You know, we're going to be this, that, and the other.
Do you mind if I find out you in like your early 20s maybe at this time?
Yeah, I'd have
Late
been
teens, early 20s.
probably at like 21, maybe.
Yeah. That's a time. That's a real difficult time in it as well.
Yeah.
In terms of like you're not really comfortable with who you are yet at that point. I don't
absolutely
find anyway.
not.
So you're hanging back and waiting for people.
So I was
to
kind
go.
of I'd let them go, and then I'll just kind of sweep, you know, and clean it all up. So we would do that, which was like your first half of the shift, and then after that you would go and do the other bits. So you'd all like tonight, can you do the concourse? Or like, oh, mint, I get to drive the scrubber dryer thing, so yeah, you go do that. Or if someone gave you like North Corridor, that meant you were doing the dressing rooms.
Yeah.
So if there was a band on or an artist on you really liked, you'd be like, can I do North Corridor?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sam, because you can. So I did Girls Aloud once and ended up doing North Corridor, and they all had like individual dressing rooms that were together. The dressing rooms in the Sheffield Arena aren't that big.
Yeah.
They're really small.
Yeah.
Probably the size of this room actually.
Yeah.
And I remember like going in and there were like Cheryl's room had like cigarette ends in the sink and
Cheryl,
like underwear in the bin that you're trying to clean out and stuff like that.
Cheryl. I would have bagged them up, get them on eBay.
There was
Good
one,
potential.
I'll not say who it is, but there was one of them that there was a bottle of Evian and it had just been weeding and just sort of left on the side and stuff like
What
that.
do we know after the show?
One member of Girls Aloud.
Yeah, it was in their dressing room.
Amazing.
I want to know after the show. You gotta tell us. You gotta tell us after part.
I feel like you know when artists do like 3-hour sets, like McCartney did 3 hours or something at Glastonbury 2022, and I was with my wife who's a Scouser, so it's like for her that was like as close as you could get to being in heaven without dying. I reckon.
Yeah.
And just
himself.
watched her lose her shit for 3 hours. But then I was stood there going, how is he not pissed? He's like an 80-year-old man.
Yeah.
That's a good
And I was
point.
like, has he got a tube going into like an Evian bottle or something? Like, how is he doing that? That's magic, isn't
That's a
it?
good
Like,
point. That's a good
so I don't know.
point.
Was that maybe that was a stage trick? I don't know. Maybe she just loved pissing in bottles.
There was some great. It was one of the best jobs I've ever had actually. 'Cause it was just like fun. You were with your mates. Because you were working daft hours. By the time it got to like 4 a.m., you're that kind of like delirious because you've been awake for so long.
Yeah.
And full of sugar because you just keep going to the vending machine. And
I used to work in a bar, and I mean, we were sort of in a band. Me and Dave were in a comedy rap group. We're sort of loosely known around our hometown. But I was working in a bar there, and I wasn't as afraid of you as getting recognised because people didn't really recognise me because I used to wear a costume kind of thing, like a hat, and I'd take my glasses off like Superman. But I would be the first out on the floor cleaning because you might find it was back in the day when people used to use money, and you might find a few fivers. So the first one out on the floor cleaning would usually find like all the fivers and tenors that we dropped, and then you get like this like tips because you never got any tips. Not in the bar that I used to work in. Shout out to Eclipse.
Eclipse.
Eclipse, I used to love going in Eclipse. The one that's where Debenhams is.
No,
okay.
This is in Boston, Lincolnshire. Before the pods, I was saying to you, like we're sort of loosely connected through my dad's cousin's husband, who's your uncle. But I was like brought up in Lincolnshire. My dad's from Sheffield, but he moved out. He ran away as the black sheep of the family and hid in the flatlands of Lincolnshire, which is where I met Dave.
Right. Okay.
Hello.
But that was Eclipse Boston.
Right.
Also, R.I.P.
Really?
What was Eclipse like in Chef?
Oh, it was horrible. It was really.
Yeah.
That was like 18-year-old me going like. I think I worked at Foot Locker.
Yeah.
So it was me and my mates that were probably chavvy, but pretended we weren't. And it was like
a bit of a chav me.
It was the sort of like a jug, cocktail jug.
Oh my God, is this the same gaff?
For like 10 quid. It might have been a chain. Could have been a chain.
Do you know what? They R1 used to do, this is class as well. So we were about 16, 17. And it's the first club we used to get in town because they used to do this like mad cocktail hour.
Right.
They'd open at 10. They do between 10 and midnight, any cocktail jug for $5.
Yeah.
And they probably had an offer on beers as well. But we used to just go in and get like these cocktails that were just basically milk, cream, and like Kahlua and like tequila or something. Awful, like pretty awful.
Yeah.
Just neck them, get absolutely leathered. And then we try our luck at getting into the other club because you've already been in one, you get your hand stamped, and then if you go to the other one, you don't get in, you just go, oh, I just went to the bank, mate, to get some money out, and then you can go back with your hand stamp. We're so stupid thinking that the bouncers from each nightclub aren't radioing each other going, got some underagers coming your way, mate, but we want to keep them in here tonight, actually. Yeah. So just turn them away and then like send them back round. But like so funny that mirrors like that. It fucking was sticky floors.
Yes, and we'd all wear, for some reason, we'd wear suits to go out in.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Maybe we thought we were just being really cool.
It was jeans and shoes for us, and then we always got told. Did you get told this, Dave? Black makes you look older. If you wear black, you look you look loads older.
There was a lot of like, it was that time of like, you'd wear like a black suit with a white tie.
Yep. Oh
and
my
your
god.
Collar, your shirt's black, but the collar's white.
Oh my god, yeah.
So very like top man.
So this is like early 2000s.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. I think I started going out about 2004. I would have just done my GCSEs.
Yeah.
I'd have just done my GCSEs, I think. That was 2005 maybe. But it was so like that I wanted to talk to you about that era in Sheffield because obviously for anybody that doesn't know, Andy, original bassist in Monkeys, and you said that when we spoke before that time actually is like such an interesting time in Sheffield. Like, I wanted to sort of know because I wasn't here, but like it's something that spread throughout the whole country, didn't it? It was New Yorkshire and all that you spoke about with the enemy and that. But like, what did Sheffield feel like at that time in the early 2000s when you were in bands and?
It was exciting because there was always something happening.
Yeah.
There was always like a band to go and see, and normally they were all really good.
Yeah,
there's loads of bands that didn't kind of make it out.
Yeah,
that you would still go, let's go see them because they're really good. And
yeah,
they would play like the Harley or like Frog and Parrot, things like that. The ultimate aim for anybody when I joined the band. After I'd been to the first Monkeys gig, because me and my mates were like a bit older, so we'd gone to the Grapes because they were supporting Carl's band. So Carl was our his story.
Shout out Carl.
It was his band that they got on the first gig.
Sick.
And I don't remember how it came about that they played. Like our Andy's said, "Oh, you maybe had a word with Matt, who's the drummer, because his brother was going to be in my band, and we played this really awful Britpop sounding kind of thing, but it's what we all listened to. So we
it was what was inspiring everyone at the time. Like what else? Yeah, what else can you listen to?
And I think we asked Matt because he was drumming for Carl's band, or someone asked, can Andy's band get on? He's like, yeah, of course, yeah.
Sick.
And it wasn't until sort of watching it, I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. This is mint. This is like, and it was so like.
And you played bass as well.
Played bass as well because of Andy, really.
Yeah,
because of him. I bought a guitar. Like years and years ago, I'd bought a guitar from Fox's Music in Meadowhall.
Nice.
I put it on layaway, so I kept having to. There was no take it and you just pay for it while you've got it. It was like I had to keep going and go, here's £10 towards this, and then write in a book and all that.
Oh, you bastard!
I did one of them with a guitar,
We've done it with cameras. We've done it with guitars. Yeah. I did it with a drum skin. I still owed Harmony Music in Boston a tenner, and I was like, I promise I'll get it to you next week. Never took it in, but I feel like
this was you didn't get it until it was paid off.
Oh right. Oh shit.
So that's
I had my drum skin up front.
We got ours up front.
No, it wasn't like putting it on Klarna and just paying it off for the rest of your life. It was like I used to have to go in and they'd have a book and they'd write they'd fill the book in of how much you'd paid and how much was left. And it probably, at the time, it was the world to me, but it was only about 380 quid. And I bought this Les Paul custom in cherry burst and like orange because Noel Gallagher played something similar, and that's what I wanted to play.
Guitar freaks just creaming over there.
I just want to throw in here as well. I know from another podcast that you've done that I've listened to, you saw Oasis at Nebworth.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
which is like probably the gig, isn't it?
Yeah,
like the British gig.
I went the day after my 13th birthday.
Sick.
So mine's on the 10th of August, and my mum took me for my birthday.
What a ledge!
Yeah, we got up at like 4 a.m. Got on the coach outside the showroom cinema. I went to Nebworth. Yeah,
sick.
And I loved it. It was amazing. My mum.
No wonder.
I think my mum liked it really, but she was like, I was with like a 13-year-old son, and everyone's trying to sell me drugs. And I'm sure she, my mum had a cool life when she was younger, so I'm not saying she was like disgusted by that. She probably probably didn't think,
just not right now. Like,
not doing now.
Pick your moments.
I went when it was Cooler Shaker, Dread Zone, Cast,
God,
Manic Street Preachers, and Oasis, and the Charlatans were on as well.
That's probably some of the biggest bands of the 90s, isn't it? Like, on one lineup.
Yeah, it was incredible.
I don't get that kind of thing anymore. But no wonder you're inspired by Noel Gallagher. If you've seen that, you've seen him come out with the big footballs and
This Is History and all that kind of thing. So
sick,
that was like one of the first. Probably the first gig I went to was
just you and your mum.
Me and my mum, yeah.
Sick.
Nebworth. It was like £35 for a ticket.
Oh my God!
Which is quite different to the tiered shit they've got going on now.
It was something like £35, and you had to apply to get the ticket.
Yeah,
and I think 4% of the nation applied to get tickets.
I remember it.
Try and go.
Well, I don't remember it. I remember watching the doc and being like, "That's just thinking about
that documentary." Is that what's it called?
Supersonic.
Supersonic.
Watching
one of the best documentaries.
It's great, and the one about Nebworth is really good as well. They made that Nebworth one where they kind of like people reenacting stuff. It was really good. Like,
oh shit!
It's all about people's stories.
Yeah,
there's like a group that were like, oh yeah, we hitchhiked down to Nebworth and we got in and we paid the security guard £50 and he let us in and all that, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's really good. It's really good.
I'll check that out.
Interestingly, at the end of that documentary, I think Noel Gallagher says something like, and I feel like this is like overly quoted, like, we're just 4 lads from a council estate that brought like the whole country together. But when did that happen again? But actually, it did happen again, didn't it? Because your Andy made it happen.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it did. Yeah, I've often said that. Like, it's very rare that kind of thing comes along.
Yeah,
and it was. I mean, it's subjective in it because it's people's taste. But for me, it was like, well, the Beatles did it, and then Oasis did it, and then they did it.
Yeah, mate, 100%. I think for our generation, I don't know about you. Dave's into a lot of different music.
Everything.
Well, Dave's into different music than me, but you definitely are into Monkeys. Maybe
one of their albums, definitely. Like,
yeah, maybe I think was it AM for you?
It was AM.
Yeah,
for
so
me.
you're a bit. You're into more heavier rock than me, I think.
Yeah. It was going through a weird period in my life, and it just some of the songs. It's just like, oh, fuck.
I've got albums like that.
Speak to you.
Yeah,
A Grand Don't Come for Free by the Strokes is like by the Streets. Sorry, it's like that for me where. I'm like, this is me. This is me.
Yeah.
This is like my life.
Period of your life, man. Sometimes some albums,
even the one when he goes on a date and he's like watching a football because he didn't want to talk to. I'm like, I did that.
Done that. Yeah.
I was Mardy Bum, man.
Yeah.
That's I was like, oh shit. Yeah.
Well, I feel like that everything that we were talking about there with like Eclipse and stuff like that. When we first heard Monkeys, I'll never forget where I first heard Monkeys. My mate used to listen to some right twee indie shit, and he just every week he'd come in with some god awful band that he'd heard on the internet. Shout out Tom Kachi. And he came in one week and he was like, "I've got this new band you've got to listen to, Arctic Monkeys." I went, terrible name. They'll never they sound like another terrible band that you're going to play me. And he played me Bigger Boys and Stolen Sweethearts.
Yep.
And I heard Al rip the line. It was from the demo ones. So it's like, at least you ain't got an Nova or a Burberry hat. And I went, I'm all in.
Yeah.
They're fucking brilliant.
There's not many bands that do that anymore. The last band that kind of did that for me, musically, legit, was when you showed me
Idols.
Yeah. When I saw them and I just went, for me, man, like I was just like instantly fell in love.
It's got an element of capturing the spirit of the moment, Joe Talbot, I think, with Idols. Like just as Monkeys did, I think, in that time, they took a snapshot of kind of young people's lives around the country.
Yeah, it's social commentary, isn't it, around that time, really?
Yeah,
and there wasn't that many that I can think of really doing it to that kind of level.
Yeah,
where people were talking or singing about,
I loved them sonically, man. They just like raw.
Yeah.
It was preaching kind of love almost, but in an aggressive way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I loved that about him.
And it was, that album, the first album, was obviously start to finish it's a concept album, isn't it? It's like it's a weekend.
Yeah, it is.
It's the start of your weekend and everything you go through with your mates on a Friday night, and then it ends up, with
no
certain
wonder
romance at the end where you've had a bit of a fallout, but I love him, so he's my mate. I've got to be there. Do you know what I mean? And
no wonder seeing that sort of inspires you to start playing yourself and like get into bands and stuff. Like
It was.
I know the first gig's probably not quite what you have now, but also like it looks fun and it sounds fun and it like
yeah,
it's four mates doing a thing. And
that was what was sort of inspiring, and it was like, well, if they can do it, like I want a bit of that. Like,
Yeah,
look
yeah.
how much fun they're having, and
yeah,
and because of that, I went to obviously the Grapes one, and then I think I went to one at the Boardwalk, and then I kind of didn't go for a little bit because I was like with my mates who were a bit older, and we just go to the pub and
yeah.
we'd talk about what we were going to do, and we're not very, we didn't really do it that much, but we got into playing, and we would like, this is what we're going to do, and this is what we're going to play, and we used to rehearse at Attic Studios, which I think is still around actually, down in Shalesmoor. And there were some nights or some days we'd go, because there was only 2 rehearsal rooms on the top floor with a pool table, like a room like this with a pool table in it.
Yeah.
And we'd be in one room and Monkeys would be in the other one.
Yeah.
And we'd kind of stop and come and have a game of pool together, and then kind of go back. And
Do you get on well with Andy? Was it like you ever?
Yeah.
Quite close. As
close.
brothers?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we've ever. I mean, we probably did when we were younger, but we've never like fell out majorly.
Yeah, not like a Liam Knowles sort of situation.
No, not at all.
The opposite of that
no,
kind of thing.
No, we were probably, I don't know, maybe when we were younger we thought that was the cool thing to be, so that's kind of like we did. But no, he's very inspiring to me to want to be in a band and play bass.
Yeah,
and even to little things when I did start playing.
Yeah,
to where I stood on stage, like.
What was it about the bass? Why not guitar? Why not the drums?
When I'd bought that guitar, I don't know. I have this thing with like, and photography's the only thing I've not done it with where I've actually, no, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to get a guitar. I'm going to get a guitar. I'm going to get a guitar. And I, worked and worked. And I paid it off and I got it home. And just kind of sat there. And I'm like, well, I've got it now. So now what? Yeah. And then in my head, I'm like, I need to fucking learn it. But I just, if I couldn't get it straight away, I couldn't get chords straight away, and I didn't really. No, musically, I kind of thought I knew what I was doing, like rhythmically, because I was into music and I kind of knew how music kind of should go.
Yeah.
I kind of thought I could get it for that, but it was really hard. I remember getting it home, and I think Al used to come for egg and chips at our house quite a lot after school, and he tuned it for me. So I gave him, like, just don't know what I'm doing. So he, like, tuned it, and then I managed to learn a few chords, but then after that, it kind of slipped out of tune again, and I just didn't know what I was doing.
Fuck it. Like, so many parallels between that and our friendship. I when I was about 11 or whatever, I used to play saxophone, but I could play like a few notes and stuff, and I hated reading music, and saxophone music to me was quite boring. And Dave was into like kind of punk and ska and stuff. And I remember him, like, we were just hanging out one day skateboarding or whatever, and he goes, do you play like any musical instruments? I was like, I've got a saxophone. He was like, that's well cool. And I was like, this guy says I'm cool because I've got a saxophone. And then in all his wisdom, he won't remember any of this, but he said these words to me: you should get a guitar, mate, then we could like be in a band and that, or like you could play some music together or whatever. And I just took that home, went to my dad, I want guitar. And he used to come around my house and I'd take these fucking music lessons.
Remember the first name of our band?
Faith in Silver, yeah.
Before that.
Before that. I don't.
Shit on the Lawn.
Shit on the Lawn, yeah. We're in a band called Shit on the Lawn.
Yeah, we were real young. We got that.
Was that like punk kind of thing? Or?
Oh god!
And I said
we were real young. We don't know what the fuck we were.
And I said the name Arctic Monkeys is bad. Shit on the Lawn. By the way, that's what you should be called.
We were like, how old were we when we come up with that?
We were 13 or 14, but like
we were. Well, your dad was always out. I remember your dad being out. I got those.
My dad used to go to the pub
drums
on a Thursday night, and I was old enough for him to leave me in the house on my own because the pub was literally at the end of the garden.
Okay.
Like down the end of like a lane at the back of the garden. So he'd be like, going to the pub for a couple of hours, I'd be back at whatever time, and like, right, Dave, come in. It's like operation, record a few tunes or whatever, and then it'd be.
You got the tapes of those anywhere?
Somewhere, yeah, I do.
Have you still got them?
Somewhere I do. I keep everything, man. I archive shit.
That's amazing.
I've got some somewhere. We're like prepubescent boys on it, like. You've probably got a deeper voice than me, but like, oh my god, it's harrowing shit. But he was the guy that tuned my guitar.
Okay.
He was the guy that showed me like tab and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Without him, I'd have given up on guitar straight away.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that person, it's hard, isn't it? Like,
yeah, it is. And like, I'd started playing that before Andy had started doing stuff. I'd had this guitar and I just kind of didn't do anything with it. I had a little amp. I've still got this little Fender amp actually.
That's beautiful.
And
you kept it.
I haven't got the guitar. I sold the guitar, But I know I sold it to, so it's like I know who's got it.
You know where
so
it
if I
is.
ever
Yeah,
do
yeah.
think I want that back, I know who's got it. So I
Yeah.
can get it off.
Yeah.
And I would just make noise with it. I would just kind of like, I was like really into like, at that time, you know, like you were getting music from like Kazaa and LimeWire and stuff. And I
Yeah.
found
Oh
this,
my God.
like,
Yeah, man.
this version of Jimi Hendrix playing Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah, oh man, I've heard that. I'm sure I've heard
it's
that.
incredible from
Was it-
Woodstock.
I think
Yeah, I'm sure.
yeah,
I'm
I
sure
think
I've heard that. Yeah,
and the
yeah.
bit I loved was him just making this mad noise. I'm like, that's what I want to do. That's
Yeah,
kind of what my
yeah,
part
yeah,
of a
yeah.
band would be. Would make this weird noise. So it probably sounded awful because I was like, you know, hitting the guitar and like making this absolute
That's the
racket.
journey.
It's
though, man. You
experimentation,
figure
though,
that
isn't
shit
it?
out.
That-
Like,
and-
coming
but
up
you're
with
not
sounds
told
and
that at the
stuff.
time. You don't know that at the time.
No, and then I kind of just sort of gave up with it. And then Andy started playing, and they were really good. And went to see them, and he was playing bass, and he had this really nice bass. He had like a really old, like a copy one, and then he got this Epiphone one, which was lovely.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, maybe bass is like, that's what I want to do. And then it wasn't until my friends that I went to the pub with, who none of us were, two of them, like one could play guitar really well, one was a really good drummer, the other like knew some chords.
Yeah.
Danny had never sang before, but he just looked cool.
Yeah.
So like, well, you're the front man.
Yeah, yeah,
Don't
that-
matter,
that-
it don't really
yeah.
matter if you can sing.
Yeah, exactly.
And
it's a
like-
bonus if you can, but
Yeah,
you don't have to.
He didn't like, I mean, he wasn't horrendous, but you know, he wasn't.
I was
like-
never a front man. I had this weird. I love being behind the noise of the drums.
What
Yeah.
what you're
Love
really
that.
good at though, Dave, is like making the appearance every now and then just to let people know that some shit's gonna
You're
go
still there.
down.
I
Like,
do like it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a bit. Yeah, but I never was a.
You're
I
a
can't
great.
sing.
You're a great hype man though. You're a great hype man. When
Yeah, I
we've
don't
done
really
stuff on
care
stage.
about. Yeah, looking like an idiot. Like, I don't really
Okay.
fucking care. Like, I don't.
So that was
care.
I was the other way. I was like, I don't
Bass
want
players
to like
are always
it.
fucking cool, man.
Well, that was that maybe
Bass
there was a
players
bit
are
of
yeah,
that.
good
cool
point.
as
Good
fuck.
point,
man.
they are
Maybe there was
cool.
a bit of that. Maybe there was
Yeah.
a bit of that in there. And then so like the last thing was like, well, I'll play bass then.
Nice.
So I've kind of got access to one.
One thing I was just going to ask you. So, like, what sort of year is this? Like 04, 05?
No, it's probably 2002,
So
2003.
earlier,
probably.
much earlier.
Yeah.
Just because I know that in Sheffield at that sort of time, like music-wise and stuff, obviously Pulpit happened in the 90s, but Crasher was big, wasn't it? Like Gate Crasher.
Yeah.
Somebody once said to me, I can't remember who, so if I'm quoting you, my apologies, but they said that everybody in Sheffield in the early 2000s was a DJ, and then Monkeys came out, and then
Yeah.
after that, everybody in Sheffield wanted to be in a band.
Yeah.
And it sort of really switched up
Yeah.
stuff, and kids were selling turntables and buying guitars again.
Great.
But
I mean, they're both great art forms, aren't they? They're both
Mate,
great
yeah,
things
yeah. Oh,
to
yeah.
do. And
and you've done both as well. We'll get onto your DJ in a bit.
selecting, I think, is probably more.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I kind of learned. I just got bass, and the first time I'd ever played bass was the first rehearsal we had at Yellow Arch, and
Sick.
my mate was like, "This is a G, just there,
Yeah.
just keep the rhythm and then change to that." I was like, "All right, okay, I can do that." And I probably like I think the learning curve was like pretty steep, so I think I got kind of all right pretty quick.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of plateaued of like, I'm not going to be John Entwistle. So I kind of like knew my zone kind of early on of like what I kind of like to do bass wise and sound. And I was never like and still I'm not like, loads of fills and play. I can't really play with fingers. It's very wonky kind of pig.
I always think of when people learn, especially instruments, like, I think Tyler the Creator's like that with his chords and stuff. He doesn't know chords on the piano. He just knows, if I make that
shape
makes
sounds
that
like
noise.
that. Yeah.
And I've always been that way. Dave Grohl doesn't know chords really.
Yeah,
And he
I
plays.
think it's the
I
same
know
with
what
Noel Gallagher
sound-
as well. Doesn't know, like, can't read chord music.
You don't
and stuff.
need to, man. There's this
No.
like on
don't-
the
you
opposite
don't-
side
it
of
can-
that. Like, it
can
can
be-
really fucking help.
It can be beneficial. Like I have musician friends that I work with. Shout out to Duncan Vaughan actually, who I would be like, I need that chord to go, and he'll be like, just add a seventh and a ninth and a -2, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds
can't-
right. Like I
yeah,
can
yeah.
hear it. Like I know what I want to hear. I know what my ear wants to hear, but
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what that fucking
Have you seen
chord
those?
is, man.
Have you seen those VSTs now, where you can
Well, like,
sing what you want?
one
and
of
it
our-
just
one of
makes
our-
the chord, and you do the
Oh,
beat.
wow.
With your mouth.
One
And
of
it,
our
like,
friends actually runs
crazy.
that. She works for that company, so it's like it's a microphone, probably chat AI as well, and you do like, I want this pattern, bum bum bum, and it just puts it all in
Oh, and
the
it
right
works-
key.
I
And,
want this
really?
chord,
Yeah.
and it's like,
yeah,
fuck?
Wow.
it's I think it's called Vocally or something like that. I don't know
Okay.
if I'm pronouncing it right, but
yeah.
imagine, yeah, it's so different now. But Oh,
It is.
sorry, what
Making
you were
music.
saying about playing is the way that you were playing. That's kind of like your personality as well, though, isn't it? In a way, like much in the same way you were smashing a guitar to like emulate that Hendrix kind of thing. You were saying you were playing in a more punky sort of stripped back way. That's kind of like, I don't know.
I think I never like had lessons. I never had lessons to play bass. I never went to college or university to study photography or anything like that.
Yeah,
I think it's just a natural sort of desire to like, I want to do that. I'm going to figure it out.
got that DIY ethos, man. I feel like that's so strong in Chef.
I think it is. Yeah,
I like
think it
that.
is.
That's I'm more lean towards just fucking get your hands dirty, just get in,
Just try it.
Yeah, just do it.
Yeah.
Just-
We've sat in this room for just over a year, just chatting shit to each other, and then I was like, we should probably start getting some guests in. We can talk all right now.
Yeah.
Then we have to figure out like camera setups, and we're like, oh fuck, the lights don't look very good. We have to get some lights
See,
in
I
it.
love all
and then,
that,
but
yeah.
it's been one of those slow build things, I suppose. But I
Yeah.
feel like one of my tutors, I wanted to ask you about this as well, because you've said some similar things on other podcasts. But one of my tutors from uni, I studied here, so I got sort of drawn back to Sheffield. I think probably by the music, and then also like I came here to look around the uni. And I just drove into the city centre for the first time since I've been a kid. And like the only times I'd ever come into town were like if I went to Bramall Lane to watch a match.
Yeah, okay.
So, and I always remember Sheffield being like quite like intimidating or feeling intimidating when I was a kid because it was so big compared to what I knew, like fields and countryside and tiny little areas. And I drove past the train station and it had that like wall of water, and I was like, this is fucking beautiful here.
Yeah.
Like, this is, and I was like driving through and I was late for my interview and I was stressing. And I was like, I'd already put Leeds or somewhere else down as my first choice. And I was like, I don't want to fucking go there. I want to go here. And I fucked it up. I've missed my interview or whatever. And I got into the interview and they were like, why do you want to come here? And I was like, because I need to be in this city. Like, this is where I want to be. Like, and I said, I'll do anything I need to get here.
Wow,
And I
okay.
like made all this, you know, big noise or whatever about it, but it just felt like it felt right. And then when I was at uni, one of my tutors said, Sheffield is like the best place to start something creative because it's so nurturing and also it's affordable to live in almost to an extent. And there's spaces and
the space. I mean, the spaces is a massive thing, isn't it? Obviously, it's all old sort of industrial stuff that gets sort of taken over and converted into practice rooms and studios. And I think that's one of the things I love about the creativeness of Sheffield is any kind of side street you go down, there's like, there's a practice room in there, there's a photography studio there, or something like that. And I love that about Sheffield.
Across the road here, they practice.
There's practice rooms everywhere around where we are. Yeah, I mean, I
hear
feel
them like band practicing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's always some like mad bands as well. Some of them sound insane.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they might never play a gig, but I'm like, I like the way just doing stuff. Like, ethos
doing
here
it for
is
them.
doing stuff.
I think
exactly.
that's the thing, and I think that's what maybe that's always been my thing with do it for me, and if I like it, then I kind of learned that later on in life more really of like as long as I like it, it's fine.
Mate,
Like,
absolutely.
it doesn't matter. And I guess that's the same really, but I think it is a very nurturing city, and I think it's a very humble city. I think still, maybe sometimes to a fault. Like I remember Awara saying about this sort of arts thing about, you know, Manchester will give us 200 million for this. Whereas we're like cap in hand, not asking for stuff, and we probably deserve it. But
O'Hara nailed it with the way that he said we need to be better at not putting us lantern under a bushel or something like that. He said it in a proper sort of Sheffield way as well. He's Mr. Sheffield. Smashed it with that. But like I live in Manchester now for my sins, but moved there because I wanted to live there for a bit. Met a Scouser, married her and stayed there. My plan was always to Sheffield's always going to be here, and I know that I'm happy there, so I'll just go somewhere else for a bit. But then ended up sort of in Manchester. But then being there, just the attitude of people there is a bit more like just confident and out there and a bit arrogant to an extent, but it's always sort of pleasantly arrogant to
it's
my
like
understanding anyway.
Feels like it's a bit of a supportive arrogance, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
like
but one thing I will say is that it's not as community. I don't know. With Sheffield, it seems to be the community of creatives is so big and it's such a wide spectrum that, like, you know, you're a photographer, but you know musicians, you know venue owners, you know you know, film, obviously filmmaking and photography sort of go hand in hand, but like Warp have come together, like your mates with, you know, big bands, big DJs, but then also all those people, even if they go away, say for example, like your mates with Toddler T as well, we'll talk about some of your work with him in a bit, if that's okay. But he's in London now, but he always comes back to Chef, and whatever he's made in London or whatever comes back here kind of thing, and he like DJs Cabal and that still, and
it's crazy.
I love that about this city.
I think there's something with Sheffield, and you see it a lot. You see it with a lot of students, actually. They kind of finish and they're like, I'm just going to stay here.
Yeah.
Love being here. I'm just going to stay here.
Yeah.
And it's almost this, you can kind of hear them because there's like a little kind of Sheffield twang to their accent. It's a little, it kind of they all kind of come in the freshers year together.
Yeah.
They've all got their own accents. And then by the end of the 4 or 5 years, they've kind of got this nice kind of posh bit of a Sheffield accent, and you're like, you've been a student here for a while.
Going home saying rate good, that.
Rate good.
It were rate good, mum. It were rate good.
Yeah. But I do look, I think it's a very nurturing city with a lot going on, and from like a visual canvas, I think it's incredible that, you know, we've got like Park Hill and like to like these are brutalist buildings, the place on Ecky Road, and then 5 minutes out of town is green, beautiful Peak District, and I love all that.
Yeah, good point.
I love all the industrial buildings. I love all the stuff like at Kellam Island. Like my studio is like an old spring factory, literally called spring factory. That kind of these old buildings and these industries move away, or they kind of almost die off, but something comes in and creatively kind of takes that space, and I love that about Sheffield.
You're proud of Sheffield, aren't you? I can see, I can tell. It's lovely to hear as well. I feel like a lot of people that I speak to from here, and even me, I'll talk to people like all the time about how great Sheffield is, and they're like, Sheffield, what are you on about? And I was like, you need to go, you need to be there, you need to speak to people, and like it's not all presented to you on a plate. Like you need to go here, and you need to eat here, and you need to find.
You have to discover it.
You have to discover it. But there's a beauty to that. There's a mystery to it still. But if you ask anyone, they'll tell you where to go. I didn't know about Beres until about 3 years ago because I'd never asked.
No.
And then I had one, and I was like,
out with you because I was just like, you obviously went away, did the uni thing. I decided to stay back in Boston and just get a job. And I obviously visit here. And back then, I didn't really know because I was young. I was like, whatever, it is what it is. But it's only recently I come back, started doing this for a year. Then you talked to Jim, and then I was like, hang on. And I just started learning about Sheffield. Now I'm falling in love with it.
And O'Hara's basically sold him on Sheffield.
And then we went to Fagan's last week.
Yeah, we did. We took him to Fagan's for the first time.
I fucking loved it, man. I was like,
great
just
spot,
a vibe, man. I was like, fuck, what have I been doing? I might get Leanne and fucking move here.
She doesn't know it yet, but
I was in there the other week. It was for, I think it was, they'd just done the thing at the showroom for the reunion, so we kind of gone there afterwards. I didn't go to that because I was doing something, but I went. I'll just go meet you there, and we'll all have a drink with all the gang, as we could say.
Nice.
And I was outside the back, and one of our friends, Jamie, actually from Anti Monkeys, was in with his mate, and his mate came outside. Who was from France, and he lived in London. He was from France. Come to see Jamie.
Yeah.
And he kind of stood outside in the beer garden, and he was like, "This is such a weird place." I went, "What do you mean?" He's like, "All these flats, and then there's industrial units." And then there's this pub. Will you ever go? I'm like, no. This is like the house in up, mate. This is not going anywhere. Everything gets built around Fagan's, and it will never leave. And
it's a landmark, isn't it?
It's a landmark.
Almost,
but he was just so taken aback by old buildings and new buildings, and everyone's together and everyone does stuff. And when we were sort of further on the night, I remember like she was O'Hara telling me actually, he was like, so what? Clem was like, what does this guy do? He was like, oh, he's a photographer and he's an actor and he has a podcast company and he runs a film company and he's a DJ and he's a musician. He's like, fuck.
that group of people that Jim was sort of telling us about as well on that. I mean, you're part of that very much so, but it is just
it's mad.
It's a disparate group of people, but with all different creative talents. But it makes almost like a Sheffield superpower in like a
I think
it
way,
does, doesn't it?
And I think what's lovely is now we're not all, and it wasn't really that case, I don't think, but when we were all young and we were all in bands, you're all obviously competing with each other because you all want everyone, you want to do the best and all that kind of thing. Now everyone just wants to help each other. And I'll come and do some photos.
I think having like a feast over famine mentality is like important. I think we're sold on this that you have to compete when really I think you can all do well.
Yeah, I say that a lot. I say that a lot with photography, with other people. Like, there's enough work.
There's enough to go around.
There's enough there for everybody, and we should all build a really good community. I think of
I'm like,
in my
Mate,
kind of
yeah.
side, photographers. There's something really good to build when we don't have to compete. Like, I've had people come and ask me about work. Oh, I'm on this is a shoot I've got planned, and I'm like, that's not really me. But have you tried this guy? Because he does that, and she does that, and she's minted it. And
I do that video edit, man.
yeah.
I don't really do that kind
They'll
of.
get you that look.
Yeah,
It's not me, but they'll get you that look.
Exactly that. I don't do vlogs because I can't. They're just. I can do them, but they're just not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where
It's
you,
the same
it's
with I've been asked to do like weddings, and I'm like, that ain't me, but I know someone who's really
I
good.
tried wedding videography, man. I took out like an $8,000 loan to like got an A7S. I did it, man, for like a few weekends, like a month, and I was just like,
you
just
were
couldn't do
shadowing
it.
someone, or you were like a second, weren't you?
Yeah, I shadowed him in a second. They was a bit like, God bless. I don't know, like you're my kind of employee kind of thing. I was like,
okay.
I didn't like the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I had to be suited up. It just wasn't me.
Yeah.
You got paid well, don't get me wrong. But like, I was thinking about that too much.
Well, that's the thing, and I think that's one of the things. Like, people have said that to me all the time. Like, yeah, but you could earn loads doing weddings, and I'm like, yeah, no, but I would rather do something for free. I'm creatively invested in, than get paid for something. I'm not really wanting to do. And not that there's anything wrong with wedding photography. It's just not something I'm interested in. It's not something I want to do. There are incredible wedding photographers out there that probably I would think, oh, go and ask them. They're miles better.
Yeah.
Go and ask, but go and.
They love it as well. They like it. They love doing
that's
what
they want to do, and they make a really good living out of it, and they make really good images. So, yeah,
I only do like short promotional like video editing, like even shooting stuff. I can do it, but I'm not really. I love the editing side of things. It's only short promotional stuff that I've learned over the years that I like. I can't do vlogs like finding a narrative and a story. It's just a lot.
I'm the same with I love the sort of technical side of making the YouTube stuff I do.
Yeah.
But I don't script them. I don't really research the thing that much, because I'm just trying to get across a point of like, this is how I use this.
Yeah, this is how I personally use this. This is how I do it.
And what I do with it. And you might be in the comments going, well, what's the dual band ISO? I'm like, I don't fucking clue.
Yeah.
Don't know what that means. I just put it on this, and this is what I get.
You're very much my kind of person. I feel like, to a tech level, you're a little bit more. You can go the other way as well. You can balance both. Actually,
the thing with me, like, it has to be quick, man. Like, and I get interested in stuff. At the minute, I'm in love with anime.
Okay.
Don't know why. I'll probably get bored in a month. I just got an ADHD brain. I need stuff quick, man. That's why I love doing 30-second to 60-second reels. I love anything advertisement-wise. Like when you said earlier, like, oh, I've got a mate who works for wherever, does like an advert for
AOFS eyes and stuff,
As soon as that's
Jesse's
that's
called,
sick, yeah. And I also like technical side of things. Like when I see big sporting events, I think, how do they track the ball measurement and stuff? I love all that. I am
into that.
Stuff.
I'm into that kind of thing, and I'm into like figuring a shot out, which I'm getting a lot better at now with like studio stuff. I'll see a studio shot and I'm like, I would be like, oh, how do you do that? Like trying to research it, buying the same gear or investing in the same gear, doesn't really mean you know how to do it. And it's not until I'm like, well, the shadow's falling there, so the light's probably there, and then
lighting is a whole fucking ball game as well.
One thing I was going to say to you about your photography, you've touched on this in a couple of other podcasts, but like, I really like the way that you. I think you said. I'm paraphrasing. I might get it wrong. You like to capture like a moment kind of thing with the photograph. I wanted to sort of not go backwards, but like ask whether or not your experiences, I suppose, with like everything that you've seen from the way that sort of Sheffield was in like the times when you were in bands and doing creative stuff, and like I guess like especially with your pictures that you capture of like musicians and people, you really get the emotions of the people. Like your photo of Little Sims, where she's like like arcing her back, like it's just the right moment to.
Well, that was actually the first time I'd shot live music.
Yeah,
that photo. Yeah,
was your experience from bands sort of like helpful for that? Because you're like, that's a sick moment. That's like a little bit of like magic chemistry.
I think there's a bit in that. I think there's a little bit of like, even though it's not the music I played, I'm like, okay, I think there's gonna be a moment here, and I wasn't even gonna go and shoot Little Sims. I was kind of just excited to be doing tram lines as like a thing, really, of like, right, I've never done a gig like I know I shutter speed. I'll put it on burst mode. See
That's
what
so
happens.
that's so sweet, man. That you've got that. You've still got that feeling, like you know, like you're excited to shoot.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to it.
That's great.
And I saw my brother, and he was like, "Oh, we're gonna go see Little Sims. You go and check Little Sims out. She's sick." I'm like, "No,
Yeah.
all right, yeah, sound. I've got like a photo pass, so I'll go up."
Yeah.
And went in, and I kind of knew of her a little bit. I'd not got the album or anything, but I knew of her, and I just kind of got in and got that shot, and that was on my. So what camera was that been on? I'd sold the A7 by then, and I'd bought my brother's A7 III off him.
Nice.
But I had like a second-hand Tamron 28 to 70mm lens I'd bought again from Harrison second-hand. Traded my other lenses in, bought that one.
Nice.
That's in.
I need the range.
With photography, that's what you do.
I love-
trading
yeah,
lenses.
I love the way that you've literally built it from the ground up, and you trade, and you're keeping it like kind of like sensible. You're not like going all in on gear. You're like, I'll slowly upgrade and slowly develop what
I knew I'd needed
I
something.
get
style.
there.
I knew I'd needed something a bit more higher quality than what I was using already. Like the A7 was great, and I took some good stuff with it, and a lot of early stuff I did for public, I'd shot on that, and it looked really cool. But I was like, I need something that's just gonna be a bit faster and a bit better resolution and a bit quicker to get the focus and all this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And now Andy was selling his camera, which I still think today he regrets selling me because he loved that camera. And he's like, I just don't use it. So I bought it off him. I got a loan to like buy it off him,
Yeah.
pay for it. And
Did you let him share it?
no, I've not given it him.
Do you know what? I regret. I got that loan out for that wedding photography business, videography. I got that A7S Mark II, and I kind of regret selling that because we would have had. We got a couple of A5100s, which are
great.
fine.
A7S2, great.
Yeah, A7. These ones are fine, but we're even looking at upgrading now, aren't we?
Yeah.
It's
It's never ending.
yeah, that's it.
never- it's
And
never
then
ending.
once you upgraded, there'll be a new camera.
That's it.
And then there'll be a new MacBook, and there'll be a new whatever. And
And then the
after a
software
while,
updates for your road, and then it doesn't support the camera anymore.
Yeah,
so you got to get a new
God,
camera.
man. God,
you know, it's
yeah.
all
honestly, mate, it's an
planned
it is-
obsolescence from multiple companies and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, it is a never-ending cycle. But again, at some points, like this is a really strange tangent, but like when I DJ, sometimes, like when I do Day Fever, for example, I like being limited to like 250 songs.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I have to make
Gotta
this.
make something of
I have
this.
to make this work. Like
Yeah.
this is what I've got. I have to make this work. I don't have every song in the universe.
Yeah.
Because sometimes having too much, you don't.
Well, you're
do
blinded
too
by
little
choice,
with
aren't
it.
you, as well?
Yeah, so if you can maximize like the minimal stuff, sometimes that's the
Yeah.
best way of doing it. But
That's what I was doing for the tramlines thing, really. Just like,
Yeah.
I've got this lens. I only had one camera body, and I borrowed a lad's Sony. Like, I felt like it was like the most precious thing in the world. And he lent me his Sony 1-400,
right,
like 2.8. So I'm like, this is like fucking $3,000 a lens. This is amazing. So I could
Yeah.
do like main stage stuff and get some good shots there. But I used the Tamron for the other stage because it was a bit smaller.
yeah,
And yeah, she just happened to appear in front of me, and like, I thought I'll get a shot. And I knew I was in burst mode because I'd looked at that a few days before of like, oh, you should really use burst to like rapid fire.
yeah.
And yeah, she went back, and I just started shooting, and I could see like in the viewfinder, it was like it's flicking like milliseconds. It stays there, doesn't it? And then
Yeah.
and I just remember it flicking through and just going, fuck, I've got it.
Yeah,
I've got
you've
it.
got that. Just get that moment.
Absolutely got
Do
it.
you know when you've got, like, as a photographer, like, do you know that you've caught something special?
Yeah, it's very rare that I would get something, you know, like out of my camera and into my Mac and be like, oh, where's this shot come from? This was amazing. Like, you normally know when you've got it. But we obviously just get the first 3 songs, so I got that shot. I was pretty buzzing. I got a few more that I really liked as well, and then we kind of went out around the pit.
Yeah.
And I'd figured that I got this app, so the Sony app, so I could like connect the camera to my phone.
Yeah, so it's quite quick, isn't
I
it?
remember
now?
this app
Transfer
on the
across.
A7, yeah.
Yeah, so I
yeah,
transferred the photo off, and then I edited it on Lightroom on my phone as I'm walking around. She's
That's
still on.
Yeah. Oh man.
I'm walking around and I'm on my phone editing it, and my brother's at the back with his friends. With like, I think it was with Marcus and
yeah.
I've been with Diz as well. I think I can't remember. And I bumped into him. And he goes, "Oh, did you see her?" I went, "Yeah, I've just took that." And he went, "Fucking hell!"
Yeah.
I went, "I know.
That's a moment,
I've
isn't
just
it?
took it." And people
Yeah.
see it because I have it framed in the studio. And yeah, people are like, "Was that in here?" I'm like, no, there was a gig. That was a gig that was on
Yeah,
stage.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it looks like it's in here with the way it's lit. And
Yeah.
All that
Like
kind of thing, and-
you really did like kind of capture that. It was just the way that she's arcing it back and everything.
Yeah.
Like they're human moments, I suppose. But like literally didn't take any photos before, like you got that first camera just at the start of lockdown,
no,
not even like phone, or did you have an interest in photography kind of thing?
On my phone.
I loved Hipstermatic, man.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
That was the best time.
It was incredible.
Can I just ask? Have you had? I really want to ask this. Have you had any kind of failures where you've got a shot and it won't upload, or something happened? You're like, fuck. Like,
I did a shoot at Gatsby once, and it was just like a cocktail menu kind of thing, and it was only like 10 photos as well. I got them back to studio, and the card had corrupted. I was like, shit, so I had to go and do them again. But nothing before then, and then since then, I have it so it writes to both cards at the same time. So
yeah. So I mean, it's a learning thing, isn't it? Yeah. But then also, at least you learn on a shoot where it's 10 shots and it's cocktails. It's not like
a wedding.
Or you work.
Oh my god, could you imagine the pressure of a wedding?
That's the thing that terrifies me.
Yeah, that was another thing.
I'm not doing it.
It is a lot of pressure.
I want to be in control when I wouldn't be there.
I got my one of my best mates to photograph my wedding because I knew she was just cool. And I was like, I know I'm going to get some great shots, and she understands. There's a thing about photographers for me where I'm like, I think you've got it. You've definitely got it. You understand like people, like, and you just notice when something really normal and like human and real is happening, and you get that moment. There's I forget the model's name. Do excuse me, but you've done like a pregnancy reveal photo shoot relatively recently.
With Joseph and Hannah.
Yeah, sorry, Joseph and Hannah.
Yeah, Joanna Style on Instagram.
That's right. Yeah, it's stunning. It's such a like shocking kind of, but like mega photograph of like so pregnancy announcement. Right, she stood on the car.
She sat on a Mercedes.
Sat on the car.
Yeah, we went to Manchester for that because they had this Ancoat studio actually in Manchester.
Yeah,
and they had that car in the studio, which is the reason Joseph wanted to go.
Right.
And I've worked with them a lot because their studio's just above mine. It's like in the same building. So they're just
no
above
way.
Me. Yeah, and they make like these mad clothes. They style like they've styled like Megan Thee Stallion and SZA and them clothes, and they've worn those things.
Hey, hold on, that's happening in Sheffield right now.
Yeah.
By the way, that's happening in Sheffield, everyone. So just might not know about it, but that shit's happening right here. So.
And I've done work with them before in the studio for like collections they'd done, and then we did this sort of Cowboy Carter recreation photo.
Yeah. I've seen that as well, which is mega.
Which was really, I was in the studio and I had the black backdrop down anyway.
Yeah.
And Joseph came down like, have you got half an hour? We've got a collection coming out. Beyonce's dropped this album. We've released this line and it's like cowboy hats and they're like furry and chaps and underwear that's furry. And I'm like,
dope.
And I love working with him anyway. So I was like, yeah. He was like, just black, that's perfect. So I went, yeah, come in.
Yeah.
So they came running down, got some stuff, and then they said, oh, yes, it's inspired by Cowboy Carter. I was like, oh, okay. Well, why don't we just redo the album cover then? They were like, yeah, let's do that. And then I looked at the album cover like, oh, shit. I'm going to, like, she's on a horse, and she's got an American flag, and it's galloping, and she's just sat on it. I'm like, how the fuck are we going to do that? And so I was like, okay, right, sit on this box. I'm going to light you the same way I think Beyonce's lit.
Yeah.
And then I'll just figure it out. I'll figure it out from there. So the actual shot of Hannah, she's on like a white box that I have to like the people sit on, or you put stuff on and take photos of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, right, can I get your leg here? And she had this white plastic stick. Like I'll put a flag on that afterwards.
Sick.
And just got to make sure I get the lighting right. Got that. I was like, okay, I think I can work with that. And then we did a few more where Joseph was sat down and she's behind them. I wanted to go for like a bit of a sort of Elvis and Priscilla kind of thing. Yeah. And I've done this. I did this with John and Laura recently, where she's like stood behind with her hand on his shoulder. And all
I love those photos, man. I love them.
They're probably my favourite ones. Those with John and Laura. I think they're great. Those. And they were like, yeah, we need to announce this collection in the next sort of hour.
Wow.
Like, okay. Yeah, literally. So I got them all, like the sort of normal ones. I was like, right, there you go. I'm going to work on this one now. And I just started using Midjourney. AI tool.
Here we go.
Hello.
Here's your AI, man. Yeah.
And all right, okay, let's figure this out. So I just described the horse in the Beyonce photo into Midjourney, like running left to right, it's high shutter speed, it's on the ground, it's at night, it's lit from the top down, and it spat some stuff out.
Yeah.
I was like, do a variation of that one. And I got this phone, I was like, okay, I can work with that. It was the wrong way around, but I'm like, I'll just flip it, it'd be fine.
Nice.
And then the flag was just American flag waving at night.
Yeah.
Found a photo of that, brought that in, and then just comped it all together.
Cool, man.
And then got it out. It was one of my favourite things I've ever done.
I love doing that. Just saying you're going to do something. I mean, it's terrifying as well.
Sometimes they're the best.
You've got to figure it out.
Yeah.
I love being in that situation though. You just go.
Yeah.
Well, it was
Figure it
really
out.
what was like kind of sort of low-key satisfying is I'd gone to the boxing, and James's wife Amy goes to the same place, and she's like, "I love that." That must have took like weeks and months. I mean, it took 45 minutes to make that photo.
Are you
from start to finish? It was
It's a
45
combination
minutes.
of great photography, AI.
Just
How
fucking
do
having
you
a go.
feel about AI, especially in the industry that we're in?
I think there's always going to be a call for actual photographers. I think it's good. So I go through phases where I'm a little bit terrified. I'm like, oh shit, this is like what I do for a career almost. Like, is he going to take it away from me? But also, it's a tool. I can use it as a tool to come up with ideas. If I'm trying to describe an idea of a shot I want, I'll give it a go in AI.
Yeah.
I'll use it to enhance a photo. Like with the one with Joseph Hanna with the sort of Beyonce thing was like a very unique circumstance.
Yeah.
But it saved the day and that.
Mate,
and
absolutely.
the photo looks incredible.
Yeah.
It's still one of my favourite photos I've ever done. So
With the podcast, I use it just like I'll get a transcript of this podcast.
yeah.
Put it in there and say,
Pick out some
Pick
moments.
out some moments.
What did we talk about? Like break it down, and then it just sort of block it off.
it's wild. And it's only getting better.
It's only I mean, look how like ChatGPT kind
That's
of
what I use,
went mad recently with the action figure thing, and it was mad.
I look because you were responsible for. There's so much I need to talk to you about. I feel like I could chat to you for ages. But all the Bracknell ones.
Yeah, the Royal Oak ones.
Yeah.
That was just me pissing about basically. And sent them over.
And you're in
Bracknell,
Bracknell and you film Bracknell.
Yeah. So I'd filmed
the
team
good-looking
talks.
goalkeeper from Bracknell, as one of the comments said.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Do you know what? That's just hit me. Oh shit! Yeah.
Have you seen the video?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's not a fucking octopus.
He's not a fucking octopus.
Yeah, that's
Fuck, it's you.
That's me. Yeah.
Can I ask? Have you been reshooting old clips?
I think we did a couple of
Retake,
kind of, yeah. Or it just Sunday League, innit? It happens all the time, that kind of thing. So we'll probably catch it again. But yeah, I film the team talk stuff.
Yeah.
And then just give it Olivia, and she does them.
Oh yeah, of course.
She
Yeah,
does
of
the match
course.
stuff. So
she puts it all on TikTok and stuff. You're just there on the day with the
because I'm kind of in it. I'm in the team, so
photographer.
just stood at the back. So
yeah.
might as well just film this. It's all content. It's that thing of film everything and.
Steve's getting confused a lot. I see it even on a podcast recently where he's gone on. I can't remember the Sidemen or whatever. And he's getting confused with Chris.
A guy called Chris McClure. Yeah. It'd be nice to get Chris McClure in here, actually. He's got some good stories, I imagine.
Yeah.
And he can finally defend his name as well, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. It must be in my name for him. Like, I'm in a doppelganger about.
Yeah.
That just looks exactly like you. And
yeah, mate, absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah.
But how is it playing in goal for the Oak?
Challenging.
Yeah.
Challenging.
What's the biggest challenge you reckon you face?
Fucking keeping a clean sheet in a minute, but I don't know. It's Royal Oak to us is like it don't really matter about the results.
Yeah,
it's a thing that keeps us together, and it's like it's a belonging, isn't it? There's a reason Housey turns up and never gets on because he belongs to something. He belongs to a group of people that.
Yeah,
or with a group of people that love him and want to be with him and want him to be there with them, and it's the same with Bob and Winnie and Tommy. That's the reason we do it.
The gang, the boys.
It's the gang of mates, isn't it? And
yeah,
it's like it can be a bit tough out there sometimes, but you've all got each other, so
that's nice.
Kind of what keeps you going. The football is, it could be a bowling club, it could be a tennis club. We'd be the same. Together, I think so.
Do you reckon in your older age you will hang up the boots and form Royal Oak Bowling Green Club?
Oh, maybe that'd be great.
Assistant manager.
What's that one where you play
Steve
tennis,
Bracknell.
but it's not quite tennis?
Like paddleball or something like that.
No, I've always wanted to try that. It's a little bit more.
Just a little bit more calm.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I played Sunday League for a long time, and I do enjoy it.
Do you reckon there's an equivalent? Do you reckon there's an equivalent in America of Bracknell? Like NFL.
Nah.
Do NFL have Sunday League? Because I know you're an NFL fan.
They do have kind of amateur stuff, don't they? Or
I edit a lot of American, and most of my clients are American.
Okay.
I edit a lot of their kind of college stuff. It's wild out there, and like how
college American football is something like I've never
insane.
seen. Like Michigan getting 105,000 people to a game, and that's the equivalent of like
What?
it's wild.
Yeah,
105,000
that's how much their
people.
They
stadium
have
holds.
fireworks and shit for like
Yeah.
college teams, and I'm like, what?
It's
We've
mad.
got nothing
But
like
isn't
that.
that like, are they like the feeder teams to the NFL?
No, this just they're like the university
Just
teams. They'll go,
colleges.
players will go from there to the draft, and they'll get scouted to go into the draft.
There's
to then get
programs, isn't there?
Right,
Yeah.
right,
But
okay.
they just-
But
So this is like people going to watch like Sheffield Union. That
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
105,000.
it's crazy.
It's mad, Jim. It's
Fucking
mad.
hell.
I could
America.
never figure it out, and I only kind of course it's such a vast country in it, and
Yeah, yeah.
there's
oh, yeah,
only
yeah.
32 teams, and
Yeah.
some states don't have teams.
Yeah.
Is it because there's not as much NFL to actually go to that makes the college stuff
Right.
more popular? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe
Imagine
that's
if we
something.
had that in the UK, like fucking schools filtered, Sunday league teams. Do you know what I mean? And then you went
Into the
they
Man-
got
oh,
more
yeah,
of
yeah.
you had Sunday league stadiums.
Yeah,
and-
that's right.
It'll be
Jesse
crazy.
Lingard used to Jesse
Yeah.
Lingard used to play for Royal Oak, but now he plays from
Yeah,
wherever.
no, he's
He's not at Man United.
I'd
anymore,
love to
can't
see
remember.
that
Korea.
for the UK.
He's in Korea. Is he in
Yeah.
Korea?
in Seoul, I think, isn't he?
Oh God.
Wow.
A terrible example of a player. Jesse Lingard. At least think of a player, where they play.
Who plays in the
Um,
Premier League or something?
I follow Sheffield United, mate.
Well, same.
Well, we're not talking about it at the moment because we
Blades.
just missed out on automatic promotion as this is recorded. So we'll see how we do in the playoffs. So once again for
Dreading
the
it. Absolutely dreading it.
yeah.
As
I
soon
can't
as
do
we
it.
lost to
I can't do
Oxford,
it, man.
I went, we're done.
That's it.
That's
It's
it.
over. But
It's up.
it was a fun season.
But yeah, it is, and I quite like the Championship. I know there's like United fans said they don't want to get promoted. I'm like, I genuinely don't want to get promoted because it's
Be nice
fucking
to-
horrible in
oh,
Premier League.
Be nice to have another
It's
season where
absolutely
you can breathe, won't it? Do you know what
horrible.
I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
and not like turn it off after 10 minutes.
yeah.
Like that Arsenal game was like
Oh,
5-0 down at half time.
it just.
And I just thought, we just can't do anything. We can't do anything.
yeah.
They're literally walking around us. We're just not good enough.
When did you first go to a United game?
First match I went to was a reserve game in like 92,
Yeah.
I think.
So was that Dave Bassett era?
Yeah. 92 was the first one I went to, and then I started going a bit more, like join like Junior Blades, and would go through that.
Well, you played.
I didn't.
Or is that like is
no,
Junior
so
Blades like
it
a
was
fan?
like a fan club kind of thing.
I was in that, so I know this.
So I went to
Awful.
them.
Okay, great.
and then I started doing like the Tony Curry football schools.
Yeah.
Went to a few of them.
Sick.
Actually, from there, got picked up by United and played for the School of Excellence for like a year.
Fuck off, did you?
Yeah, but like I
Fucking
don't know
United
if
player,
anybody would like got out of our age group or anything, but I was like 14, 15
That's sick though, man.
and played a tournament against, I can't remember, it was Notts County, Norwich and Northampton because they all began with N. And I played in a tournament for United for that.
That's
and then,
cool, man.
Yeah, played at Warminster Road a few times, which was like the youth development training.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
I think they call it like elite development now, but then it was like School of Excellence.
Yeah.
Like 14, 15.
The
and
wording's
then-
changed, but the thing is,
Yeah, and
the
then I
same.
got, and then I went to, because we used to get free tickets because you played for the club essentially.
yeah.
And I remember going down to pick my tickets up, and they were like, just put your address on there. We just need your address for something. I'm like, all right, okay. Gave them my address, and like a week later, I got a letter through just saying, yeah, we're not carrying on. Basically, you're too small to be a goalkeeper, so you're not going to grow
Oh.
big enough. So off
Joe,
you
you
go.
don't get that chat from Steve Bracknell, do you? But he is a
No.
Wednesday fan, so
Well, yeah. Now Steve makes you feel like 6'10" anyway, half
Yeah.
the time when he's bigging you up.
yeah.
But yeah, yes, I played play, and then I kind of started
Sick.
just did Sunday League stuff, and
Because I grew
like
up in Lincolnshire, I basically told everyone, came home from school one day, told my dad I supported Man United because I'd heard some kids at school that supported them, and I thought, oh, that's a team, I'll support them.
yeah,
My dad was like, you can support any team,
but just not Man U.
but don't support Man United.
No.
So I was like, all right, fine. What team do you support? And he said Sheffield United. So I was like, right, I support Sheffield United then. I went into school the next day and told everyone I supported Sheffield United, and everyone went, that's not a real team. And some Wednesday fans will probably to this day agree.
Yeah.
And I remember having a shirt, like I got a kit and that, and I remember wearing it to like, I
What
used to
year
go
is
footy
this?
practice.
Like-
I was 95.
Okay, yeah,
This is diamond shirt,
yeah, the AVEC
the diamond shirt,
Power
the AVEC
Rangers
kit.
kit.
Yeah, the Power Rangers kit. Oh my God, the Power Rangers kit. And even when I went to footy practice in the shirt, people would be like, that's not a real team. So I was like, it got to the point where I was like, don't know if these exist. On my birthday, 1995, 9th of September 1995, we played Ipswich at home, and we won 2-1, and it was the first game I ever went to. I remember my dad and my uncle took me to Bramall Lane, and I remember walking down Bramall Lane and seeing everyone in red and white kits like mine, the Power Rangers kit, and being like, see, they're a real team. They exist. They're a real team. I knew they existed. And we're watching the game and like basically wanted to go full kit, like full kit wanker.
Nice.
As a 7-year-old. And my dad was like, you're going to be a bit cold, so you're going to have to wear like jeans and your shirt.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to wear a coat, so I wanted everyone to see my shirt. Yeah. And I was dead proud.
Yeah, my first one was the 92-93 kit, the one that this season's home shirt is based on.
Yeah.
I had that one.
It's now a classic shirt.
And then I had the one with the laces in the collar. I had number 10 Hodges on the back because I thought Glyn Hodges was a great player. Before I kind of discovered wanting to be a goalkeeper and basically just wanted to be Alan Kelly.
Oh, Alan Kelly, man. I had a signed photo from him.
I met him loads of times, Alan Kelly. I absolutely just like, I want to be you. I want to be you.
Did you say that to him?
Probably did when I was like at GT Sports doing a photo signing thing. And something like that.
We had a real thing for Irish goalkeepers for a bit.
We had some really good goalkeepers. Simon Tracy, and obviously Mel Rees as well before he passed away. Like Tracy, Mel Rees, and Kelly were like probably having those three keepers at your club were incredible. But
I quite like Paddy Kenny. He was a bit of a bad boy, but he wasn't the greatest shot stopper, but he had a good attitude to it.
He was great.
Mischievous.
I feel scummy here. Just sat. Dirty
Man United.
But used to be. I don't watch football.
But you're a Man
anymore,
United fan because your family are, though.
That's fine.
So,
that's fine.
I don't watch
all
football
my family
anymore,
were Wednesday fans.
So you're real black sheep.
Because me and my brother like mainly grew up on like Norfolk Park and Mile Park, and I remember like where we lived on Samuel Drive, which is like just off Park Range Road. There's a little bit of grass that we'd play on, and you could see Bramall Lane from it, like down the hill. And I just remember hearing this like roar coming up of a goal, and I was like, "What the fuck's that?" Like I knew football, and I kind of liked Liverpool a little bit. Yeah. And then it wasn't until they were like, "Oh, it's United," and I was like, "That's the team."
I'm gonna be honest as well, though. You probably started supporting them a little bit before me, maybe because you're just a little bit older than me, but. It wasn't a great time to support them. They weren't doing well.
No,
Wednesday were the team that were flying, and so you really did sort of.
I remember watching them. I remember watching the Rumbelows Cup final. Actually, I think that was like the first. No, I don't know. I can't. I can remember watching Italian United with my mum. Yeah. I remember beating Cameroon. Yeah, we lived on Norfolk Park.
So Euro '96 was my first one.
Oh, okay.
That
was like one of the best tournaments. I like '96 was like the best year.
Well. Was Italia that? I just remember that. Square, weird man graphic.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, when I used to play a game and it had Italian United on it, he was like
the mascot for really weird.
That was the Gaza crying tournament.
That was
Gaza
crying.
Yeah. Oh my god,
losing to West Germany at the time on penalties. That was that one. I went to that, and then I got into and then I obviously got into United because I lived at Norfolk Park. Yeah, became friends at school with United fans because it was like Manor Park, so it was like we're at United in the town here. Yeah. And then Wednesday Row was doing really well. And then I went to Wembley to the cup semi-final. And threw up all the way down and like cried all the way back basically because it was just
I've
harrowing just seeing Chris Waddle score that free kick.
Oh, you bastard. I've had United heartbreak at Wembley, absolutely awful. Worst feeling in the world, having to go home watching all the Burnley fans fucking celebrate.
Oh yeah, I went to that.
09, 08?
Might have been 2008. I went to that. 08, it was horrible. That was the last time because I'd been to Wembley to see him when we lost to Wednesday.
Yeah.
I went in '97 when we lost to Palace. David Hopkins scored in the 89th minute.
I remember that
was
one
the line.
well.
Hopkins looking to kill one, and he just killed it right in the corner. And then I went. I didn't go to Wales when we lost to Wolves. Like it's too far away.
This is why we're not doing the playoffs, by the way, guys. We're not talking about
it. And then I went to the Burnley one with my mates, and they were like 10 minutes of being on the edge of my seat, and then 80 minutes after they scored, was sat back going, this is shit.
We're done here.
And I'm not going to this. I'm not doing this anymore. We'd gone to London for the weekend with some mates because one of our friends worked down there, or he worked with a company which kind of made him get like £30 Hilton hotels or something.
Sick.
So we were like, book an hotel and we're going to go down. We went together, 2 United fans, 2 Wednesday fans, and then another friend who I was in a band with came down who was a United fan, and he kind of stayed in our hotel and we went to the game. Yeah. And me and Kyle was I was in a band with after my first band. He was like, right, I'm off. Went to meet his mates. And me and Steve, who were like still friends to this day, been mates since we were like 7. Thought, oh, it's fucking hell, it's mental. Let's just walk.
Yeah.
So we like walked from Wembley. It's like an hour and a half. Ended up, I can't even remember where we ended up. But basically, the reason we walked so far is we'd come out of Wembley and like, there's the tube. Oh, it's packed. Let's go down that way. There's one there. Oh, there's a big fight. Oh, let's just go that way then.
Yeah.
And just kept walking and ended up in like, I don't know if it was North London or what. I don't know where we ended up. But the first tube come, where they got shirts on and his jackets on, and the tube stops and it's all Burnley fans.
Oh,
so just like zip your coat up, like zipped. And we got on at the back where there was nobody kind of there.
Yeah, they're all celebrating as
They're
well.
all
You just feel like
celebrating,
dog shit.
And then they kind of clocked us as they got off and started like smashing on the windows and stuff.
Oh.
And then and then we had to drive home back to Sheffield with 2 Wednesday fans in back. And I just remember
You're nothing special. We lose every time. I love that attitude now. Like that's the one.
I just remember getting in the car with them to like, I think I like literally like a kind of angry dad, kind of like, you two don't say a fucking word. All the way back. Quiet. And then we pulled into a services and it was full of Burnley fans as well. I'm like, this is a nightmare.
All travelling the same way. That's because all the coaches and everyone's going north, aren't they? They're just going. And then, Burnley, man, what a shit team.
I've hated Burnley ever since.
Me too, actually.
For no other reason than they beat us in the playoff once.
And I quite liked Sean Dyche. So when he was there, I was like, oh.
Yeah. But no, I don't know. I'm not. I know apparently we're favourites, but I
don't know. Now this is a thing as well, though. When England, what was it, 2018, when we won on penalties, I was like, I had no expectations. My expectations were in the gutter. I was like, oh, we're going out here. Never mind.
Yeah.
Been a fun game. Then we fucking won. I was like, that's the best feeling I think I've ever had. I was like, I can't. England have just won on penalties. So if United go up through promotion, I think I might I don't know. Just
don't know how I feel.
I might do something insane. I don't know.
Well,
I get a tattoo or something.
The year we went up, the first to the Prem, with the whole O'Connell's coming in header against Ipswich.
Yeah.
So me and my mates, I worked with a couple of lads, and we were, for our sins, really into wrestling for a bit. They still are. We're like really into wrestling.
Yeah, I like wrestling, mate. Yeah.
And we used to do a podcast about it, right? But it wasn't like,
yes, man.
I hope John Cena wins. It was like, so if he wins, what does that mean going forward? It was like, how the sausage is made. Yeah, it was like, why are they making that decision? What direction they're going in? But we talk about like, what's the
podcast called? Is it still available?
I think it's still around. Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
It was called Staring at the Lights. We haven't done it for years.
Okay.
Basically. Staring at Lights basically is when you lose and you're on your back.
Yeah.
At lights. That's
nice.
kind of like
interesting.
So if people want to go and listen to that,
I think I might.
It was a long time ago. It was a long time ago.
You watched the Vince McMahon documentary, by the way?
Yes, I did it.
Wild.
Well, we were doing that, and like loved doing it, and I had a bit of knowledge. Mate of mine, Ethan, incredible knowledge, and then Tom was like really, really good knowledge about like sort of. We used to go and watch Progress, which is like an indie company.
And I know
they do it. They go to the academy a lot, and they go to Manchester. So we go and watch them, and we get like front row and kind of go and see these indie people that all ended up kind of in WWE and everything like that.
Cool.
And we kind of started doing a thing about it, and then this sort of big. We kind of started to fall out of love with it a bit, and then this big sort of like speaking out movement came about accusations about all these sort of indie stars and
Wow.
and all this kind of thing is happening. And people we kind of became friends with were talking about it, or they'd had a partner or a female friend that had an experience with it, and we were kind of like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah,
that's the car. So it was like we kind of did a thing about, this is happening. It's horrendous, and it's killed our love of what this is.
That's a shame.
So then we did 2 episodes. One was just talking shit, and one was talking about conspiracy theories. And that's like my favorite one I've ever done was like Ethan trying to convince us that the pyramids were made by aliens, and Paul McCartney's dead. And
I love that conspiracy theory.
And,
Do you have a favorite conspiracy theory?
Paul is dead is a good one.
Paul is dead.
I do enjoy that one.
Bush did 9/11. I like that one.
Yeah. Do you know what I was thinking?
Dave's like, these are all true. What are you on about? These not conspiracies, mate.
I was talking
the aliens
to
did make the pyramids.
I was talking to my therapist about this today, and I was like, I listen to Joe Rogan a lot, not because I agree with him, but I'm really interested in people who are confidently wrong.
Yeah.
About things. Do you know what I mean? There's like a fascination about like flat earthers and things like that.
Yeah.
Flat earthers are wild. Yeah,
And like, so we'll come in and, we'll start speaking out about something, or he'll say, oh, in England, they're putting people in prison for this. I'm like, no, they're not.
Calm down.
No, they're not.
Yeah, like I was literally talking about Rogan last week, wasn't I?
We did. You did have a
Because
little
I'm
Rogan
a big
section.
fan of
You
Rogan.
love it.
I pick and choose now. If there's a guest that I like, then I'll go
It's the
on.
guest, like Bill Murray's on. Oh, fucking hell.
Sick,
Bill Murray.
yeah,
Let's do
yeah.
Bill Murray.
But like Joe, God, it's when he goes on about the vaccines, and I just
It
he
was
can't
that-
help
we
himself.
go.
It was
I'm
that
like, here
one.
we go.
Yeah. Oh, have you
I
seen in
can't.
England they're putting people in prison for saying they don't want immigration on Facebook? I'm like, that's not why they were getting put in prison. They were like,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah,
burn
yeah.
down the mosque. That's why they were doing that.
Oh, my
Like,
God.
That's why they got put in prison. So yeah, it does annoy me, and I kind of find myself shouting at the. It's not a CD player, is it? But shouting in the car.
What's going
Shouting in the car like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, the fuck? But there's just something fascinating about people like that, and people like conspiracy theorists, and
Yeah.
that I'm just like,
Wonder what our
Fascinated.
equivalence of that is on here. When we, Joe Rogan to the vaccines.
I don't know, man.
XL Bulls.
XL bullies.
XL Bullies. We had a big thing with XL Bullies.
what, against or pro or?
Well, a while ago, in my local park, basically, an XL Bully had destroyed a swing set.
Right.
And then we just found it really funny for some reason. And then after,
Yeah,
so then
we
we
did,
talked
yeah.
about them quite a lot. And then Dave brought in some stats that were quite damning, and like how many people XL Bullies had killed, and then like an area map of where they had killed. We were like, oh, they are actually quite. They are actually a little bit dangerous. Can we laugh about them anymore?
Because for years I was
They're
like, oh,
beautiful
it's
dogs though.
how you bring
They
up a
are,
dog
yeah,
and this, that,
no,
and the
they
other.
are.
But then there's just some damning stats there. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
there are a lot of
Yeah.
damning stats. Yeah.
there's a weird correlation. And I love dogs. And I think
Yeah.
they're
Is
beautiful as well.
that a sort of nurture rather than nature thing though?
I don't know, man.
I mean, maybe I guess
don't
there's a
know.
certain.
Because
type-
I know someone who has XL Bullies, and they're the most sweetest dogs I've
Yeah.
ever.
Do you,
met.
do you reckon
same.
they'd? Do you reckon they'd bring one in?
I don't know. Maybe.
If
He
it-
has actually like had to get rid of a couple of them because he can only have one.
Oh,
So he's actually, because
shit!
of the whole license thing, I think he had to get rid of a couple of them.
When he got rid of it, when you say got
No,
rid
no,
of, like,
no,
they're
he
not
said like neutered, sent to like London and muzzled and like went to
Got
live on
it.
farms and that
Okay,
kind of thing.
yeah,
He didn't have them euthanized. is what
Okay,
I'm saying.
yeah, okay.
I
So
don't know
some of
what
that.
people think. I don't know.
I'd love it if an XL Bully came in here.
I'd love if any dog.
That
came
would be a
here, like-
wonderful episode. Just an XL Bully sat in between us
That'd be fucking brilliant. Yeah.
we have an English
with a handler.
English bulldog at home called Sal, and he is the most laziest thing.
Shout out to Sal.
And but
Does he
he's
watch?
hilarious because if we're all at the house and the dog walker comes, if it's overcast, he's not going out.
Yeah.
And he'll just lay on the chair, and you can see because she comes in on the ring doorbell, and then she goes out on her own. And she's like, "Oh, I didn't want to go out again," and he just not get up. He'll just like, "I'm not fucking going. I'm not going."
I want. I love greyhounds. I really want a greyhound.
Lovely dogs, great.
Just like they do that lean on you, and I'm like,
They
oh,
do.
that's great. Yeah.
Here's a question then: do you do much animal photography?
Ooh.
I did some once for a friend Sophie, they had a Frenchie that she was on her last legs, bless her.
Yeah.
And she wanted a photo of it with her boys because it's like, we don't have any, and it might be the last week she's around.
Yeah, yeah,
So we did some really nice photos of that. And then I did some when she got a puppy a few months later,
yeah.
and a Frenchie puppy. And they're probably like my favourite photos I've taken for a long time. Like this little white Frenchie called Darwin,
Yeah.
who was incredible. And just,
Darwin's a great.
What
Kind of
what
looked
made
with-
them what made them so special for you? Was it just like the emotion that was around
I think,
after
yeah,
the sadness of the?
I think so, and I think he kind of has this expression on his face, like when I got like a shot of him, he's kind of got this like inquisitive, raising his eyebrow at me kind of thing.
What are
and-
you doing?
Like the Rock.
yeah, a bit, yeah. And
Shooting the people's eyebrow.
I loved, yeah. So that's the only 2 times I've done it, and I took some of like our dog when I can, when he's asleep on the sofa. Always.
Can I
Yeah.
ask you a left of field question? What was your favourite finishing move in wrestling?
I was getting really nerdy here.
Man, that's great.
Massively
These
into Undertaker.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Jake the Snake Roberts was massive.
Hey, the snake. Wow. Yeah, you
So
got
the
is
that
this
there.
is this Undertaker pre-American Badass
Any of them,
era?
any
Oh,
era of Undertaker.
The last ride was unbelievable.
Incredible.
My god.
Jake the Snake Roberts I loved because he didn't shout and he was very sinister. I'm really kind of drawn to like the mysterious sort of dark thing. So I like so Undertaker, Jake Snake. I really loved Aleister Black, which is a bit more of a in deep one. He was like really big in NXT, but I thought he was incredible. I liked his sort of whole.
He going into
around
NXT stuff. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
And Bray Wyatt as well was massive, like really big Bray Wyatt fan because I kind of liked all that mysterious, spooky kind of thing. But I don't know, favorite finisher.
Finishers.
Short, Sweet Chin Music probably.
Oh,
Big Shawn Michaels
the
kind of fan. Yeah. I loved all that.
Mine was always Swanton Bomb, mate.
Yeah,
Jeff Hardy.
Everyone
the
loves
front flip
to
off
do
everything.
that. I mean, not to do it actually, but you'd love
I
to
did
do
when
it.
I was a
No,
kid,
we
yeah.
did. I think we spent a lot of our teenage years doing the Swanton.
I remember my brother once
off beds and
hate me for this. We lived at Manor Park, and there was a couple of lads who were like similar age, but one of them was like really small, like skinny kid.
yeah.
So he was like really easy to like wrestle with because like I can suplex you because I'm only like 13, but I can do it.
Yeah.
And now Andy tombstoned him on back garden. Right. And he just popped up, like didn't sell it, popped straight back up, but there was like a dent in the grass. But it wasn't like because it'd worn down because we'd been playing football and wrestling on it.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
like just soft mud.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there was like a dent in it where his head had planted into the thing. I was like,
Could have been worse. It could have been worse
Could
than
have
it
been
was.
really bad, but
My dad built me a ring, if you remember, in the back garden.
I do. Yeah,
Really?
no, I do remember
No,
that.
when I say a ring, it was 4 posts.
that's all right. So
Nailed
you need,
into the
innit?
ground and just.
I do
you
remember that. That was cute.
Construction tape and
That's
Yeah.
cute, that though, isn't it? That he did that.
It was mad cute. They
Yeah,
did
yeah.
That,
That is what a lovely thing to do, Brian. Thank you for that.
God, mad into wrestling, mate. Yeah.
I loved the Dudley Boys when
Yeah.
they
It's 3D.
smashing a 3D through a table is one of the most satisfying things
this
you
is
can
like
see.
giving all my. This is me going really deep here. Dudley Boys in WWE or ECW?
It's a
before.
WWE for me.
Yeah.
I was out. There was
ECW was a bit too much, I think.
my wrestling knowledge. I think I would have loved ECW, but my
Yeah.
wrestling knowledge is very limited window. Probably
Same
2000,
here, to be fair.
2001 to
Okay.
maybe 2002.
Yeah. This is like
Um,
97 time, innit, when they were doing like.
D-
I remember watching it on Bravo when we had cable.
early days was
Yeah.
ECW, but Mick Foley
Yeah.
as well, great wrestler. And he was ECW, right? For a
Yeah,
long
he was,
time.
yeah.
He was
Yeah.
doing like barbed wire matches and
He did a couple of those
Explosions and
with Terry
stuff?
Funk. Yeah, the explosion ones were in Japan.
oh, was that
I'm not that into it really.
basically?
Fucking
Did you see when Billy Sharp, to bring it back to United stuff?
Yeah,
United,
yeah.
Billy Sharp did the Socko, didn't
Incredible.
he? And then Mick Foley came to
Came
Bramall
to
Lane.
Bramall Lane,
Did
came
you
to the
did you go
Brentford
and
game.
meet him?
I didn't know. I wish I'd done. We were doing the podcast then,
Oh shit!
and I
okay.
at the time I got someone I knew called Mick Rucker used to work at Bramall Lane for like years and years and years.
Yeah.
Used to give us tickets from like my mum used to do the red ribbon thing back in the day, and
Nice.
technically you were only supposed to get one ticket if you sold so many, but because she had like single mum with 2 young lads, big out fans, they used to just give us tickets
Yeah, that's nice.
anyway.
That's good.
And then later on when we kind of reconnected with him, and he kind of bumped into my brother and our Andy Kellerman the pitch once he did the half-time draw, and that from that day on, he would just leave tickets for us under the name just in case we turned up.
Love that.
So he would leave tickets there.
great.
That's fucking lovely, man.
So we would just go,
Just
yeah,
in
and he was there.
case.
But he was working out at the time, and I saw this thing of Mick Foley's coming to Bramall Lane. I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe shall I text Mick? Shall I take my mic with me? Shall I try and
Yeah.
get an interview? Shall I try and do this? And obviously it didn't happen, but
My
Incredible.
mate Mark is a huge wrestling fan, and he was going through like not a rough time, but he was like he used to work at the Broadfield. He was living in
Okay.
Sheffield. I think I can't remember if he just had a kid or if he was about to be a dad. And I saw this thing happening, and there was a meet and greet option.
yeah,
And the
yeah.
tickets were like £100 a pop or something. Like, it was stupidly expensive. And I'd just done like quite a big gig that weekend, and I was like, I'm going to spend all the money that I've done on this gig on getting them
bless.
tickets
That's lovely.
to take me and Mark to meet Mick Foley. And I
remember
remember
this.
just messaging him being like, by the way, we're going to meet Mick Foley on Wednesday or whatever.
Wow.
And he was like,
Oh,
what
wow.
the fuck, man?
That's
and
amazing.
Mick Foley was the nicest
Yeah,
guy
yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
Ever. But then behind, like, there's a queue to like go and get a photo with him and that. And then behind me in the queue is Billy Sharp's sister, and I'm like, "Fuck, it's Billy Sharp." I'm like, I'm not that starstruck by Mick Foley,
No,
even though
no.
he's like one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Billy Sharp's
Billy
behind me in the
Sharp's
queue. I'm
behind
like,
me.
I can smell him. I think I can smell his Aftershave. It's nice. Billy
We,
Sharp,
Excuse
by
me,
the
who's
way.
Billy Sharp?
He's Sheffield United all-star
Yeah,
legend.
legend,
player.
yeah. We did so kind of kind of fitting in really. Going back to that United match when we beat Ipswich.
Yeah.
Me and Ethan had been to. We'd scored these press passes to go to this thing in Liverpool called For the Love of Wrestling,
Right.
and like it was like a big convention thing. But like Ric Flair was there and Jimmy the Mouth from the
Ric
South,
Flair, man,
and
Jesus.
Wow.
loads of like Pete Dunne, like all these indie wrestlers that we kind of got to know a little bit, like say hello to him in the queue when we were queuing to get in, like and loads of sort of old like WWE names, and they had like all the belts and all these memorabilia and everything, and they were like, you want to go and you can do press and you can do something for your YouTube, or like, fuck yeah, all right. So we went and we like got in,
That's sick.
filmed something, did like a really like hooky like USB, big chunky USB mic, plugged into my iPhone.
Nice, yeah. Like it.
Ethan's holding this huge mic with his cable, and he's like, "Yeah, we're at the For Love of Wrestling, and something's happening in the ring, and all that, this kind of stuff." And we walked round. So let's have a little walk around, film a bit, walk around. And Ric Flair had just come out of the ring, and he was walking through the crowd. Undertaker was there, but it was like expensive to go and see him, and he was in a big tent, so you couldn't see him from the outside. You had to queue for an hour to get your photo with him, basically.
My God.
And Ric Flair walked through, and Ethan just stuck his hand out, and Ric Flair shook his hand. Woo! And he was like, that was amazing. We can go. We've been there 10 minutes. I'm like, we can leave now. Like, I don't really, let's do something. We didn't.
What a story, man.
So we'd listened to some, I think we listened to like Bill Burr on the way to Liverpool.
So can I just ask, this is before you had cameras and you were a photographer?
Yeah.
So
This is before all
so
that.
I was like, you didn't have your camera on, you're like getting a little...
I didn't even think for that.
moment
This is before everything like that.
Yeah.
So we drove to Liverpool, gone to this thing. Ethan had shook Ric Flair's hand, drove back to Sheffield, saw United beat Ipswich with the O'Connell coming in. Then we went on London Road and just partied on London Road.
Yeah, fuck, what a day.
And then, like to this day, like, Ethan's like, that was the greatest day of my life. That was like the greatest day of my life.
Did you put it up there with yours, you reckon?
It was pretty good, yeah. I do remember it fondly, like, because where we sat, we like saw the corner come in and just like heard the ball hit
the net. Oh.
Yeah, it hit the net, but it kind of hits it in a way that like the little, like the metal thing at the back that holds the netting down, it kind of flexed up and made a big clang noise.
Oh.
I just remember I can hear that noise still. And then going mental and the relief of being promoted. And then we went on London Road, and we were like, it was incredible. It was a right day.
What a moment.
Such a good day. That you don't really get that many of being a United fan.
No. One of my favourites still to this day is Basham. Basham's arriving.
Basham's arriving. Yeah,
and he takes his chance this time. And he just runs off at the crowd like,
that was incredible.
One of my fave moments of being a United fan. Up there with like watching Jan Arga Fjortoft in like the late 90s and just being like, I want to be an outfield player. I want to be Alan Kelly. I didn't know who I wanted to be. I had no fucking attention.
One of my things that cemented me wanting to play in goal was I went to the FA Cup quarter-final against Coventry.
Oh, I remember that.
It was St. Patrick's Day.
That was late 90s, wasn't it?
We won on penalties, and Alan Kelly saved like 3 penalties.
And they were in the Prem at the time.
They were in the Prem.
Yeah.
We'd drawn the first game 1-1 because Marcelo scored for us.
Yeah. I remember
Did a really good celebration where he ran off, took his shirt off, but he had another one underneath. So he like whipped his shirt off and threw it in the crowd. I'm like, he's got another shirt on. That's amazing.
Like a magic trick.
Marcelo, which was affectionately called John Marcelo.
Yeah.
Because when the Sheffield Star used to put the ratings on the back or the green end,
they
called him John for some reason. So it said John Marcelo 7. So I used to work at Bramall Lane. After I'd left school, I worked at Bramall Lane for a year, like doing the pitch at half time with Glenn Norcliffe, who is still the groundsman to this day.
Nice.
I used to go and do that. And
I used to sell hot dogs there very briefly, but it was horrible because I was under the away end.
Oh, okay.
And then I'd hear every time the away fans scored, and I'd be like, is that United? And then they were like, no, it's away fans. Like, awful.
Yeah, I used to like do the divots. So go on with a pitchfork and do the divots.
That's sick, man.
And,
You've had some mad jobs, you know.
Yeah, crazy. I did it for free because we was like, United fan, do you want to come and do it? Like, yeah, because I do. Like, well, so I did that. And
on the pitch, have you just a quick one? I'd love to smash a goal in at the Cop end. Have you done that when you've been on the pitch? You ever kicked a ball in?
I think I did when we were taking the nets down after a game. Like, so everyone's left and so.
Yeah.
My first game was a friendly against Benfica.
Yeah.
And they'd forgot to put the corner flags in, so I had to go and put the corner flags in 5 minutes into the game. Like, you go and do it. Like, you're the kid. You're the new one. You go and do it. And,
did you have one of them AVEC jackets on?
Yeah, I didn't
Did you? Oh my God, I love them.
This was when like Steve Bruce was managing, and we had like Dean Saunders and stuff.
Sick.
And I ran and every time I put a corner flag in, you'd go, ooh, hey, every time I put a corner flag.
There's something about football humour. Like some of it is rough, but stuff like
It's
that,
incredible.
I love, man.
There's
I
so
love
like.
that.
I love the American chants compared to the English. The English, I'm biased. The English is always better.
Yeah.
Americans are kind of a bit
Let's go.
cheesy and nice.
Let's
like,
go.
I do like the LAFC thing though. You know, they've got that section of fans, haven't they? They're called like the 3762 or something. Because that's how many that stand holds, and they're all like, but they're kind of like.
What sport's this in? Sorry.
This is in football, like MLS.
Right.
So the LAFC, which is the team that's owned by like Will Farrell and Vincent Tanner.
Right.
They have a very big like Latino culture.
Yeah.
So their fans are like proper football fans compared to like LA Galaxy that aren't actually in LA. And like,
Cool.
But yeah, I do remember hearing like funny chants of. Remember we used to have that away kit that was like this kind of yellow with black sleeves.
I do. Yeah.
We had this kit and we played Birmingham, and I remember here because I used to sort of stand in where the corner is.
Yeah.
With the other groundsman just kind of watching, and I remember hearing the Birmingham fans chanting, "You've got more stewards than fans," because it looked like a steward's jacket. I was like, "That's fair enough. That's really funny.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good."
Yeah, come in your
I
hivers.
don't think there is anything like that kind of humour though. Like
there really isn't. Yeah, it's so
quite unique.
It's stupid to an extent, but it's like clever stupid. I can't explain it without. It sounds like I'm insulting football fans. I'm really not. Like it's so unique, isn't it? And like you can't just start a chant. Sometimes someone will say something, you're like, don't know about that. But then when the good ones come out, you're just like, that's what everyone's saying.
It always fascinates me how a chant starts and who gets it going.
I've like the Jack O'Connell one. I love
one guy, wasn't it? They just start screaming and then
probably
like,
yeah. Or he has a few. I mean, I think forums now they haven't.
Here's a new song I've written. What do you reckon to this?
It's to this, and these are the lyrics, and they're like, oh, that's quite funny.
You ever thought about getting involved in that, like writing like from your band days? Like, did you ever write?
No, I never really wrote lyric stuff.
No.
I did once. We did actually do some music. I joined the band. So after the first band, I joined a band called Dead World Leaders.
Yeah.
Who were looking for a new bass player, as their current one was about to leave, but I don't think he knew he was about to leave. And they'd like,
secret agreement with that. Don't tell him.
Yeah, kind of. We'd done this gig with them in a place in Wakefield called the Snooty Fox, where
what a venue name that is.
It was like 2005, maybe 2007 actually, and you used to go and do the gig, and it would be filmed, so there'd be cameras, like security camera kind of thing.
Yeah,
and he would burn a CD of your gig for you after you'd finished. For like a tenner.
Wow.
So like that at that time, like that's incredible tech to be able to do that at that time.
Oh yeah.
And we'd played this gig together and we got talking and then they sort of said, oh, we'd seen you play with that band and we're like, that's the kind of style we need and all that kind of thing. So yeah, but I never really kind of did I just sort of someone else let Andy do that, who was the singer of that band, and and they mean more to him. They're probably about something really
something
really heartbreaking for him or really deep. I'm like, whatever, mate, sing what you like. And
I'll
you listen back and you're like, oh shit, were you all right back then? Bloody hell.
Oh, I was writing about someone else. I used that as a distraction.
So we'd kind of done. I joined, but they'd already had this EP out, and I think it got played at Bramall Lane. I think it was against like Watford. I'm like, technically, we've been played in front of 30,000 people.
That's cool as fuck.
And they like played it at half time.
I'd love that as a United fan. That would be so cool.
It was great. Well, it was Gary Sinclair came to see us actually with Bob Booker.
Wow.
Old United.
Not to be confused with Bob the Bucket.
No.
Different Bob.
Bob the Bucket won't be seen. Wouldn't do anything with United.
No. Was he a Wednesday fan and all?
Wednesday fan, Bob. Yeah.
Shout out to Bob the Bucket.
I think it's literally me and Will that are United fans in Royal Oak.
Yeah.
We're at the wrong end of town. That's why.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
We're
of
all
course.
that end of town, aren't they?
How come you ended up playing out there? Is it because you live sort of that way now?
Just knew all them, not really.
Yeah.
And it was like
they needed a good pair of solid hands, didn't they?
Safe hands.
Yeah. So they've got a United player in
I still
goal.
don't know if he was like being tongue in cheek when he said that. If he was being sarcastic or not, but yeah, like you never get any of my good bits on camera, do you? well, we never get really any of our good bits, to be honest. We're not good, but
what I need is a pair of safe hands and someone who can hold a camera for our Olivia to get these up on the internet.
Pretty much it.
Sick.
pretty much it. But
Fucking hell,
yeah,
man.
we got played there, and yeah, he came to see us. Gary Sinclair came to see us and gave him a CD. He's like, "I'll play that at Bramall Lane." I'm like, "Oh, amazing."
You've had some wicked United moments as well. Like I know you've spoken about this on with Carl, but you were saying about like you went on the bus, didn't you?
Yeah,
When they
that
got
was
promoted.
mad. That was really
Was
mad.
that was 2 years ago, wasn't it? When,
Yeah, when
before
we-
the dreadful season.
Yeah, when we got promoted, like
with
this,
Hecky.
Yeah, the season like we had to get promoted.
Yeah.
Or we would fucked if we didn't get promoted.
Financially done.
So it was like, yeah, we had to get promoted. But yeah, they got promoted, and then Toddler had rang me about doing some video thing. He was doing this tune, and I didn't really ask who it was with. He's like, "Yeah, I've got this new tune out, and there's a bit of it because like I've got a ring and it's got the outline of Park Hill on it. 'Cause that's where I used to live.
Yeah.
That's where I'm from, like with his mum and dad."
Yeah.
It's like, all right, and he goes, "And why don't we get your drone and we'll fly it above, and it so you see the outline of Park Hill from above, and then it comes down to the ring." I'm like,
Killer.
all right, yeah, let's do that. We'll do that. So we did that. Took some photos of him. They're like kind of pressy kind of photo things.
Yeah.
And then the one that I've actually got printed, I love. I did one of him in front of the older bit of Park Hill on the little Ricoh camera, and he's kind of really small in the frame
Yeah.
with this red and white striped shirt on. And
I've seen he's like a para shirt or something, innit?
Yeah,
I've seen
I
it.
love that
Really
photo.
good image, man. Again, just such a, I don't know, it's like, even when people are posing for you, there must be, like, how do you make people feel like kind of comfortable, like to get that sort of image, like, did you say anything to them,
No,
or is
I
it
think
like,
it was that one was just like, just stand over there a sec, this might look really good.
yeah,
I like
and
the
you
way
just
the
sort of
lines are coming, I like the way the road looks, I like the old building and you're in front of it.
yeah,
There's a lot of that, like, yeah, kind of going on a bit of a tangent, like the kind of style I really like, very like, and it doesn't look much like it, but I've kind of influenced it quite heavily by like Wes Anderson,
yes,
where I like
yeah,
sort of symmetry, and I like the subject to be really small in the middle of the frame.
mm-hmm.
So you kind of see that a lot with my like studio stuff, where
I was going to ask a little bit about your
persons-
influences,
yeah, the
so that's great.
persons
That
in
you've-
there. They change, like they do evolve, but the two that have stayed with me the longest, and well, one of them's only sort of like maybe an 18-month ago discovery, but like Wes Anderson for the way he frames things,
Yeah.
and I really like Nadia Lee Cohen. I think her work is incredible.
Okay, I need to check her out because I'm not familiar with her
She's just done a
stuff,
photo series with Kate Moss and Ray Winston for a magazine called Perfect, I think it's called.
Very cool.
And it's they're like such cool photos.
Yeah.
Like she's really into like hard light,
Yeah.
really sort of like blasting light at people.
Uh-huh.
Very 80s, 90s look.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the shot I did of Joseph and Hannah to announce their pregnancy was
Yeah.
kind of
Influenced by that.
influenced by that.
I mean,
kind
that
of
went
thing.
on the front cover of a magazine, man. That right? Or was it
Of
the photograph of Joe?
no,
Joe's-
no,
did it
no,
not? Or was-
no. They made it look like it did. So
right.
when they
Okay. So
posted it-
so I saw that. I was
Yeah,
like, wait,
yeah.
is this a front cover
No.
magazine thing? Right.
They'd
That was
kind
just
of
the
done
style
their
they did.
announcement on theirs as if it was like a magazine announcing it all and stuff.
Right.
But
cool.
people like
That-
very
and that
lovely. Like
makes
people were
sense.
saying like this could be on Vogue or something.
It could,
which
man.
was,
It like that when I saw it was on the
lovely.
front cover of a magazine. I was like, that's a magazine I've never heard of for an industry I have no
Yeah,
idea
yeah,
about.
yeah.
These guys look really cool, and that's such a like. It's such a really striking
Yeah,
image. Like it's
yeah.
it's almost dystopian. It's like it looks. I don't know. Like it's just something you never see. It's so cool and like
I think that's
unique.
the thing of working with people who are like really creative,
Yeah.
bouncing off each other and coming up with ideas like that. I
The
think
way
is
they are
really
together as well is like they've got a clear like kind of really intense chemistry between
Yeah,
them. Like the way
absolutely.
the way they
Yeah.
hold themselves, the way they pose, the way they behave together is great. But like
Yeah.
the way it's captured as well is just it's
Yeah, I was really. It was.
class.
I probably don't kind of give it the praise it could, because for me I thought it was like it was quite an easy shot really. It's just two big
Yeah.
lights blasting at him, and
But
I've
it's-
framed them up in the middle. But
I suppose it's
I
the
have
same
this-
as everything as well. Like, sorry to interrupt you again. I suppose it's the same as everything as well. Like the best song you ever write, or the one that you love the most, is never the one that everyone else likes.
Yeah, true.
So I'm
Yeah,
like, I
yeah,
look at your
yeah,
photos and I'm like, oh, that was
yeah.
dead cool. Like,
And I think there's a thing of like playing it down because like, well, it was easy. It was easy to get that shot.
Yeah.
Because they're easy to work with. We knew what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
The lighting was easy. It wasn't difficult lighting to
Yeah.
like set up. And I kind of knew what I wanted to do. And again, like I've had this kind of conversation with like my first before where I'm like, well, it's just easy. She's like, it's easy for you. doesn't mean it's easy for everybody else.
I have that a lot.
It's
man.
easy for you to
I
do,
have that a lot.
and that's something you should celebrate. That you do find it easy to do, and
I find it hard to like you do that. Where it's just like people look at the work and go, "That's really good." And I'm like, I hate praise. I don't know what it is. So the thing that I
get that.
discuss with a therapist, I don't know what it is. It's just makes me feel uncomfortable.
I think I remember kind of. If I think I was there, but I remember like having that conversation, or James having that conversation with elders about like. Probably like the best. Like, why are you so good? Like, you're probably one of the best drummers there is around. Like, why are you so good? And it's like, I just find it easy. It's not hard.
Yeah.
And maybe there's a bit of that. I mean, there is hard bits in photography, and there is times where I'm like, I'm not getting the shot I want, or I need to figure that out. But when it comes across, or it's something kind of comes out like that, shot of Joseph and Hannah, I'm a bit like, wait, it was all right. It was easy. It was all right. Like, but you should celebrate. You should be like. I like the inner part of me.
Also, the
inside of me wants to go.
You don't have to though.
No, I don't have to.
Yeah.
Like I'll say like, yeah, it was all right. It's good, isn't it? Yeah, I like it. It's a good shot. But inside I'm like, it's fucking good, that, innit? Ain't that good? That, inside, that's kind of what I'm doing. Like
the shot for you, I think that you like from those guys is clearly the Beyonce cover. That was the one. That one's giving you like, I guess it was more of like a quick hit, but it was so effective, right?
Yeah, and it kind of, I like a good creative thing that comes from nothing. And, and stuff, and there's something about the process, like figuring it out. I think it was rewarding, that shot.
Yeah,
because we started with literally Hannah sat on a wooden box.
Yeah,
and she ends up sat on a horse that's galloping with an American flag, and her hair's flowing and all that kind of thing.
You've made some mad shit out of something you shouldn't be able to do.
Yeah,
in
and
45
I like that.
minutes.
That's what's really satisfying about that. Yeah. I think there's a very interesting thing that I remember Jack White said once, where when he was with the White Stripes, and he would. He'd be like, so I have a microphone in front of Meg when she's drumming, and then the next microphone is like, it's 2 steps away to get to the front mic when my pedal board is.
Yeah.
But I'm going to put that 3, so it's harder to get to.
Yeah.
So it's more satisfying, and I really have to do it.
That's sick.
And I'm like, it's kind of stuck with me a lot. Like,
interesting.
Kind of makes things a bit harder, so it's more rewarding and more satisfying.
I like how a lot of your influences for photography have come from like other areas of art, like from music. I know in another podcast you mentioned sort of like Rick Rubin. And stuff like that as well, like kind of philosophies, I guess, that are sort of applied to music stuff. But you can apply it to anything creative, really, can't you? And obviously, you're in such a creative field and surrounded by creative people.
I think it's really hard to get bogged down in, as this banged on Insta, as this done well, as this had a load of views, as this had a load of views,
annoying, isn't it?
As it had the clicks, as someone shared it. And I think sometimes we have to redefine what the success of something is, and that's something I took from like Rick Rubin, of like, if you've made something, if you've put your heart in something, and you've been brave enough to release it to the world and be like, this is my art, whether it's a podcast or a film or a song or whatever, that's a success.
We put a clip out the other day, and I was joking with you, wasn't I, in our like WhatsApp group chat or whatever, being like, sat here and edited this for like 15 minutes, can't wait for it to get 200 views and like no likes, because literally no one cares. But we were both like, it's a banger though, it makes us laugh.
Yeah, that's fine.
And we're just chuckling to each other like in that bit's dead funny. And like, and then sometimes as well, like in the moment when I'm like, when we're doing podcasts or when we're doing music, I'm like, I don't know about that, I didn't think I was like very funny or whatever. I'll listen back and I'll be like, oh no, there are some really good bits in there. And then I'll sort of appreciate it in hindsight. Sometimes you don't see what is good in the moment.
Also, by the way, like 200 people, if you had them like sat outside your house,
that's
a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
You open your door, there's 200 people there. You go,
I couldn't fit 200 people in my studio.
Yeah,
you know?
Mate, that's it. I went to see Sean Paul on Sunday. Very brief aside. I want to get back to Toddler and the United bus. I was in Manchester Arena. There's like 20,000 people there, and I was like, oh, like this amount of people have seen that clip of Jim talking about Arts Council funding. And I was like, that's a lot of fucking eyes.
That's a good point. Yeah,
that's a lot of eyes, man. Like
we kind of have it with like Bracknell, where we like look at the views and we're like,
1 million people watching you save penalties.
Well, the one from the other days had like, it's like 3 million views on it, and you're God. To the point of it just.
You can hear all of them cheering as you're shoving corner flags in.
it kind of almost like doesn't like, not that it doesn't phase us, because I think it does, but you know when they're like, oh, that video's done 2 million views in 2 days, and you're like, sound?
Was there ever a point where Bracknell videos didn't do that? Because for me, it's strange, because when we had him in here, he was well known and he was popular, but he wasn't always doing like
no.
that amount of
I mean, it's been a
millions.
very long thing of doing stuff for like Royal Oak stuff. You know, it's like a 12 years ago. I think it kind of really kind of started, and
That's crazy to think about because I remember having Bracknell on doing the research. I remember looking back and seeing all the early stuff, and it is going back like
long time,
years, man.
long time,
Yeah, it might take us 10 years, Jim.
Well, we'll just keep going, mate.
Just keep going.
But that's that's the thing, isn't it? If
Just
you love
keep
doing
going.
it,
To be
Put it
fair,
out.
me and Jim's done so. How many years have we going?
We've
Ever
done
since we were
we've done
teenagers,
so many
creative.
projects. Yeah, we've had stuff that's done really well. We've had stuff that no one cares about, but I like making stuff.
We
and
keep
like
doing
having a
That's
space to do it. I know
being
that
able to create still as well is
I
an
mate,
amazing
it
gift to
sounds
have as well.
dramatic,
Yeah,
but I
man.
say this to Leanne. I say I need it to fucking live. Like
Yeah,
if I'm
yeah.
if I'm in an office, man, I'm not doing like that's when I'm my saddest.
Yeah.
When I'm not doing anything, just like not doing anything.
Yeah.
See, like when people talk about like, oh, you know, hey, I'm taking jobs, this, that, and the other. What would you do if you got like global minimal income kind of thing? If you got like, you know, 1,400 quid to live, I'd be like, well, it'd be sick, but like I wouldn't just sit around doing it out.
No.
Yeah,
I'd get bored really quick and be like,
Yeah.
right, what can I do creatively kind of thing? Like I'll always find something to do. I've always done something creative my whole life, like
Yeah.
Twitch stream, play guitar.
We've done bands, comedy stuff. We used to make films. We do
Got films.
as
yeah,
we've got
Jesus.
older with more podcasts, I suppose, because we're like making sketches and stuff is fun, but you need to have time to do that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
meeting up for an hour or so.
Mate,
every week
podcasting
is
changed. I love podcasting. Joe Rogan changed my life with that shit. Like he had people on that taught me more about the world than school ever did.
Yeah.
I
I
was
guess
like,
that it's in a place, isn't it, where like there's room for a lot of it. There's room for it, and you can just like I just get someone on. I just want to hear their story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It
and
doesn't
it's
have to be an agenda or
unfiltered, man.
anything.
It's
Yeah.
unfiltered. Like
It doesn't
not
have to
like,
be anything. I just want to talk about you and what you're doing.
Yeah, it's not like when you get people on these TV shows and you got like 2-minute segments and you got to go to a break and it's like you don't get to know these people.
No.
But when they're on a podcast, they're talking for 3 hours. Like you're like, oh shit. I mean, I think I know Joe. He would not know me. You have this weird relationship where you go up to him and go, I know pretty much a lot about you.
yeah.
But he will look at me going, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And it's like weird
Hey, Joe, listen to my
parasocial
podcast.
relationship.
Yeah.
It's
It's that weird thing of like I've had that before where I've bumped into like a United player and I've gone, "Are you all right?" And they're like, "You don't actually know me, do you? I just know who you are."
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
that kind of thing, isn't it?
yeah.
They just look at you really weird. I'm like, sorry, I'm a United fan.
It must be. It
Recognise
must be mad as well. Like that, and I guess also like, do they have a gauge on how many people know who they are to do that? Does that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I'm always I'm always sort of fascinated by
Weird.
like that celeb culture
It's mad,
kind of thing.
And it's weird. Like, like when I did the bus thing with Toddler, like we did that photo parking, we did that little bit of video, and then
Yeah.
he's like, "Come right." And then he's like, "And then I'm DJing on the bus." I'm like, "Oh, cool." And we thought like it'd be like the one behind, and there'd be like no one really asked.
Yeah.
And then we got there. And they're like, "Here's a shirt with your number," and like, I didn't have one, but they're like, "Here's a shirt, number 11, Toddler on the back." This like
So
this special shirt that they'd had.
It's one of
Days, that's for
700
you.
and something, wasn't it?
Yeah,
But
crazy.
You could get them on DHgate. Anyway, carry on.
You could. They've all got the same. Like they're all number like 211 out of 700 as well.
Yeah,
aren't they?
they're all the same number, but
yeah, they gave him like a shirt with his name on, and they were like, "Yeah, give you number 11 because there isn't a number 11, so they're your number 11."
Yeah.
Like everything. And then they were like, "Yeah, this is where you are. Do you want to go and do a quick test?" And we got up on this bus, and then we were like, "Oh fuck, this is big.
Yeah.
It's just us two."
it's you, Toddler, Rian Brewster. That photo you've got of him like at
Yeah.
the front of the bus,
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
like.
I love that photo. I was
Again,
there to
little
really do
moments.
stuff of like for tea, really, and then I just thought, well, I'm going to take photos of the players. When am I going to not be in this
Yeah.
situation again?
Did the United team have like press on there as well?
Yeah, a couple of United ones. So
Yeah.
I don't know if they use my stuff, but like I sent them and they were like, "Thanks for doing that. Here's a link. Here's a Dropbox to put it all in, and it's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
ours is in there as well." And it was mainly to like film bits of video for this thing Toddler was doing, this music promo thing Toddler was doing.
Yeah.
But we just happened to be on the bus. But it was incredible. Like, but we were sort of in work mode. So you just,
Yeah.
that's a good photo. That's a good photo. I'm gonna get a photo of that kid there.
Yeah.
There's a really interesting photo actually that Toddler sent me afterwards of me taking a photo of someone, and they're taking a photo of me.
Yeah.
The person taking a photo of me, and it turned out it was Lily, who I would now do work with. Who like,
Is that Lily Corrigan?
yeah, Lily.
yeah.
I've become like really good friends with. And
Brilliant photo.
That's kind of how
photographer.
I met her. With Toddler sent me this photo that Lily took of me taking a photo of them in the crowd, and that kind of
Cool.
thing. So yeah, we'd done that, filmed some bits of video just on the phones.
Yeah.
And then we got to like City Hall. We kind of went and had a look on the balcony and all that kind of thing. And then
Mate, that's so cool though. As
it
well.
was mental.
Like,
And all the players were like sound. They were all like,
Yeah.
it was like dapping you, giving you, hugging you. And I'm like, yeah, this is fucking cool.
Yeah.
This like really liked it. And
Great.
and then
atmosphere
Toddler had
as
to
well.
go back to London that night because I think Annie was doing a book launch. So he's like,
Yeah.
United have got someone to drive him back to London. So we walked back to Bramall Lane. I went home. He went down. I kind of got some quick edits done, sent them off. And then maybe like 4 hours later, I got a voice note from Toddler saying, like, I think he was like, that was mad. Like, I know we were in work mode and we're in the grind.
Yeah.
2 boys from fucking Manor Lodge, man, and we've just been on the bus with United. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? That was actually pretty mad. And it wasn't until then that I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was great.
Just of all the things that he's achieved in his career as well, like big ups, Toddler. Absolutely loved his work, always loved his work.
Yeah.
Always enjoyed watching him DJ and love his production stuff, and like the way it's evolved over the years is just fantastic. But like the fact that he's recognizing that that's such an important moment. It just goes to show like
Your inner child coming out there, isn't it?
yeah,
And-
a little bit, but also just his character in terms of like how much he deems stuff like significant
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Because he must get to a point, I suppose, with people that are very successful where I don't know, like if it just becomes normal, but then also it is good to look at that stuff.
Yeah, it is. And I probably think it's something that I don't do kind of really do enough of looking back. I only kind of update my website maybe like every month or so.
Yeah.
And I'll have 10 minutes then going, I've fucking done a lot of shit. I've done a lot of good
man.
stuff. And it's
Some
not
of
until
the-
I do that I kind of look back, you know. Like the funny thing was like the best part of the stuff we did for that track that Toddler was bringing out was the stuff we got the most out of was with the United thing.
Yeah.
But then like a week and a half later, we're like filming with Idris Elba in London and I'm doing the press cover photo with Toddler in because Idris Elba's on the track and
Yeah.
he rocks up 11 at night in Notting Hill we filmed in the Tabernacle. Like he just rocks up, been filming and he's like sound and we're doing the video and he's like, cool, nice to meet you. And like,
You and T just stood there with Idris Elba. This is nothing, mate. We were on the bus with United last
like,
week.
Yeah, you're sound. We had like,
United,
we had like
Sheffield
General
United.
Levy's on that track as well and like Naomi Cowan.
General Levy.
So there was
man.
like Naomi, General Levy, Idris Elba,
Wow.
and then Toddler. And I'm just sort of stood there taking photos of the video shoot.
and
getting this guy
and
stuff.
you, like importantly, you're
I'm kinda
there as well. Yeah.
And I was in London for that. I was in London anyway because we were doing the ride London charity ride thing.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
like me and Joe, me and Awara, and like, we raised like quite a bit of money for Roundabout.
Amazing.
So I was like, I'm there anyway, so I'll just come down a day early. I'll go do that. And I remember driving back through Notting Hill to my hotel at like 2 a.m. and I'm like,
Yeah.
that was fucking mad.
Yeah.
That was
And
crazy.
yeah, just, what again? Just sometimes you just snap out of it, and you're like, it's crazy. It's not exactly the same, but I was saying on Saturday because I did Day Fever in Manchester.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll do the early at Day Fever, and I'll do 3 till 5. Then I'll get a taxi outside the venue. I've just been DJing to like 1,000 people or whatever, all going insane. Get in a taxi, drive home, feed my son his dinner, put him in bed, and then like an hour after I've been on stage DJing to 1,000 people, going like,
Yeah.
I'm in a quiet, dark room
Yeah.
with like a red, like kind of light, like a soft light on, and I'm like, shh, go to sleep. It's all right.
Yeah.
And the juxtaposition of it,
It's crazy.
fucks your head.
Yeah, it
like
does. It really does.
Fucks your head. So
I had
like,
I had this conversation with John actually about it, and he'd said something similar to Richard Hawley, or where you work so hard on something, or you have that euphoria of something like that.
Yeah.
DJing to a lot of people, like 1,000 people, or doing something crazy with the team you support.
mm-hmm.
There's a real sort of low comes afterwards.
Oh God, yeah.
because that
It's like
moment has gone almost. Like artists when they release an album, it's like, well, that's it now. Nothing I can do now. It's out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I'm not in control of it anymore.
Mhm.
It's out and it's done, and that moment is over.
Yeah.
So it's really tough.
Mate,
I find it really
100%.
hard still. I still find it hard when I've done a shoot with someone and I leave and I'm like, oh, now what?
Yeah. And
What do I do
I
now?
think for me as well, when you are freelance, when you're creative and stuff like that, you might have like the best job in the world drop in your inbox the next day or the day after.
Yeah,
But you
yeah.
don't know it's going to.
No.
You haven't got like when you do have stable employment, I guess at least one thing you've got is like a guarantee of stability and
Yeah.
a guarantee of like something just rolling along and being like relatively the same week to week. Sometimes better weeks, sometimes donuts come. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
A
Like,
bit
but
boring
then,
though, isn't it? Let's
but-
be honest.
oh, it's 100%.
I do
but
like the
you
chaos
ride
of
thrill.
doing the sort of freelance thing.
I
like,
live
yeah,
in the
man.
chaos. I kind of
It does
I
get
learned to-
worrying, you know. You have like,
Of course,
you'll have like a week, 2 weeks of like, I've got to shoot every day in this, and then you have 2 weeks where you haven't got any. Like, oh shit, is this it?
Yeah.
Do you,
This is
do you
the
ever
start.
get those where you get no messages or anything? Like you get like 2 week spans where like you just don't get anything come in. You're like, am I
Yeah.
done? Is this over?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
all of a sudden another wave. That seems to I've spoke to a lot of creatives, a lot of people do their own thing. And that seems to go across the board, man. Like you do have your
Definitely.
downtime, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden you'll have like just
Bit
mad
Yeah.
fucking. You don't
I have
get
those
a week of
moments. I
sleep.
have those moments of like, I'm busy every day. This is so fucking cool. This is great. Then I have a week, 2 weeks of, oh shit,
Yeah.
what's going on? And then at the end of that 2 weeks, I'm like, oh, I can't do this anymore. I don't think I can do this. I don't think I'm good enough.
Do you
I'm
thrive?
not
Do you
enough.
feel
and
like
then
you
something comes in, and I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm good. This is it.
Wee,
Right,
where am I?
Do you
Yeah,
feel like you
fucking
thrive
hell.
more in the chaos of the busyness? Like I think I'm always happier when I've got like almost too much on to an extent.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I just feel, I suppose to an extent, if you look at the bare basics of it, it's because I feel wanted, it's because I feel valued, it's
Yeah.
because I feel like financially stable, and it's because of all this other stuff. But then also, you need room to breathe and like reset and relax yourself. And yeah, I don't know, when you freelance,
One
it's
thing
hard.
I'm not very good at is, because I love what I do and I love doing photography
Yeah,
and make videos and creating content and doing all kinds of things for people.
yeah,
It's literally like 7 days a week.
yeah.
I'll be in my studio 7 days a week.
You're contactable all the time as well.
Yeah.
That's something
Same
that I find
here,
like
yeah.
it's
all the time.
hard.
I had this
hard.
conversation with Toddler where he was like, leave the studio at 6, leave your Mac in the studio. That's
Yeah.
your home time. I'm like, nah, mate. I leave
Calm.
the studio at 8 and then I get home and I'm like, right,
Yeah,
carry on. I'm like, what else am I going to do? This is what I love doing.
yeah, yeah.
And then after 4 weeks of that, I'm like, why am I so exhausted? I'm burnt out. I need an holiday. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Yeah, it's a tough balance, man. Like whenever I'm out with my missus and I just get like a message on my phone or something, it'd be like, just don't look at your phone. I'll be like, but
Yeah.
I gotta be there. I gotta be on call. Like if I
Yeah.
don't,
I'm on call.
That's
it's
it.
kind of
24/7.
24/7.
Yeah, I
You
feel-
never switch off. You're
No.
always just, oh shit, another job.
Literally
you're
saying
looking
yes
at
to
it.
everything that comes in. Well, not
Yeah.
yet to everything, but like, you know,
Yeah.
if it's a project that you're doing with your friends, so like I'm doing stuff with Tom at the minute, Tom Rowley for his stuff, or can we do
Nice.
a video for that? Yep. You know, straight on it. Yeah, let's do that. I'll edit that for you. I'll edit the stuff we did in Fagans. I'll do it on Sunday. I'll do this Sunday. I'll do that Saturday.
Yeah.
Don't you have a
Do
day
you
off?
over
Then when's your day where you have like downtime? There is. but this is because you're passionate about what you're doing,
is,
and
it
that's
is,
why
yeah. And
that's why
I'm better
Pedalo's
at-
taking off. I suppose
I'm getting better at regimenting myself for like, okay, go to the gym at 8 and then you can go to the studio. Like, go and do
Nice.
something. Go for a run.
Yeah,
Go for a walk.
take some time for you.
Yeah,
kind of
take the
thing.
drone out into the peaks and fly your drone around and get some bits of video. Like it's creating and it's doing something, but
Yeah,
just resetting yourself a little bit and
I think
Interesting.
getting out there.
I do Twitch stream for that reason. I enjoy it. I
Yeah,
just
man.
get on
That's
Twitch.
why I started playing bass again.
Yeah.
Because it's just like an hour. You know, like I'll have a busy day in the studio. I'm like editing a shoot or I'm planning to shoot or doing some video.
yeah,
And the bass video thing came about because I was like, I need to do something else for a minute.
yeah,
I
yeah.
picked my bass back up and started playing.
Nice.
Started learning music. Started learning songs I'd never played. Became better than when I was in bands because I can play stuff I never used to be able to play. And then the posting of them just became my way of making me accountable to keep doing it
Yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah, sick.
things like that. Same like the gym stuff. That's why I post gym stuff after I've been there.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Because I want eventually, if I don't do it, someone says, "Yeah, I'm into the gym for a bit." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I'm going to get back on it." Like,
Yeah, yeah. It gives you a little marker as well, I
it's
suppose,
like
of
a
when you
little
went. And
journal of it almost.
Yeah.
So, but,
that's nice.
Yeah,
I need a pee.
Yeah, I was going to say, can we have a little break?
yeah. I'll
yeah.
have another drink.
I've
I
had
don't really want
that,
it.
that pub at Tamsworth when we had like 4 people in there. That was my favourite gig.
We played.
I was like, nah, I
Yeah.
like this. This kind of small. You got, and we just went all
They're
out.
always they're the ones.
We played a
They're the
lesbian
ones.
bar in Tamworth. It was run by a lesbian landlord, and in attendance were pretty much strictly lesbians.
It was sick, man.
It was
I loved it. I was like,
unbelievable. It was one of the best gigs ever.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
always are.
Best
They're the
and
feel.
ones.
then people
Best
started
feel,
trickling in. I loved it, and it was just like, fuck it, let's just go all out. I got my top off there. I started ripping.
We
it
did a
out.
gig at
Yeah.
Boardwalk once, and 10 minutes before we were on stage, bailiffs turned up because we'd not paid our practice room rent.
Oh my god!
And they came to the boardwalk of like, you owe us 70 quid. These 2 big intimidating dudes. And we managed to like get them the money together. And we had the best fucking gig of our life.
I've had a
after
whip
that.
round in the crowd. Like,
We were pretty much like people like, here's 20, here's this. And we got the money together. played the gig and it was one of the best gigs we've ever played because the adrenaline was just fucking
Yeah,
going.
yeah, yeah.
Do you remember
Incredible.
underneath After Dark? It was just with the beer kegs underneath.
We did a gig in our hometown in a club
I
called
remember
After Dark,
that.
and they didn't have a dressing room.
It was
They
packed out as well.
They used to have a VIP area that they'd turn into a strip bar,
Right.
Yes,
a titty
yes,
bar.
yeah.
And we got ushered in there afterwards. But they were like, right, you're gonna have to get changed. We were like, we need to get changed somewhere. Where can we get changed? Like, oh, we've got nowhere you can get changed. Just stick you in the cellar. So they stuck us in the cellar, and we just were like, oh, we're in the cellar.
Can we crack open
So it was
just
like,
like,
so it was
fuck
like,
it,
I
crack
guess
open some
anything
beers.
in here's free reign then. Because we were still boozing then. We were only 22 or whatever. So drinking blue drinks and
Oh, wow.
my mate stole a load of Guinness. But they were the Guinness. Do you remember when they did the Surger ones?
Oh, yeah.
They were
yeah.
flat.
Yeah.
And then you had to like activate them by putting them on the thing.
Putting a
like,
thing, yeah. Oh, they
So
had the
you nicked-
widget in them.
you nicked a load of them. But then it was like, oh, these taste flat and shit. Like, what's this? Oh, they're Surger cans. So we just threw them all away on the way
Mad,
home.
innit?
But man, it's so good.
We are going, by the way. You can just.
Yeah,
into
well,
it,
I only have a couple more questions for you because we've done this is like a bit of a bumper episode, really. So just
I know, I've
enjoyed-
kind of waffled on a bit, I think.
No, mate, not at all, man. I've really enjoyed chatting to you. Like, it's not a bad thing at all. But I wanted to ask you something as a creator of like unique perspective and sort of the hunt for like something different. I guess obviously you're inspired by other stuff, but like your images are all you. Does that make sense? Like, I think in a time where a lot of stuff is very like based on the same thing. So like on
Algorithms.
on TikTok,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like algorithm searching
Trend.
and
What are the
hunting and
trends?
trending and
Yeah.
and everybody's using the same sound and recreating the same video, and it's like, oh, here's like a Scouse woman with a towel on her head singing Tina Turner 1,000 times, imitated by different people. What do you reckon the future looks like for sort of like creation? Do you think we're going to go back to a more individual kind of?
I think it's so unpredictable about what people, you know, I don't know. I feel like it's like ultimately not down to us
Yeah,
what people like, and it's driven
absolutely.
by algorithms and all that kind of thing. And
Things come back, don't they? Come back around.
yeah, it's like a fashion, isn't it? You know, styles come back. We're in a big 70s boom again at the minute. With
I feel like
Style-wise,
new
yeah.
metal's
Styles.
coming back.
Yeah.
Weirdly, new metal's making a weird.
There's
seeing
a-
that
there's
with
a
like Limp
nostalgia-
Bizkit getting loads of press for
Yeah,
doing
well,
loads
I
of
went
gigs,
to a
wasn't it?
gig, like what 3-4 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
There's a
Limp Bizkit, I loved
nostalgia
it.
for the early 2000s at the moment, a lot. Yeah, for sure.
Well,
That's
I mean, yeah,
amongst younger people.
it was a quarter of a century ago, so
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is frightening to
That's-
say that, but you know,
Would you
that's
say
the way
that's
it is.
generally how fashion kind of goes as well? Because I remember when we were early 2000s, there was a big sort of 80s. There was an obsession with the 80s. Wasn't
Yeah.
there? Calvin Harris, and it was all 80s kind of.
Yeah, it has a cycle, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
there was a very kind of well-known like Noel Gallagher clip once of like, you don't decide what's good, the fashion houses are deciding what's good, and they're
Yeah.
deciding what you're wearing, which also influences the music you're going to listen to,
Yeah.
which also influences what people are going to create from that.
Yeah.
Um,
It's mad. It's like politics, isn't it? The newspapers influence the people. The
Yeah.
people
yeah.
vote for the politicians.
And it takes some people who are brave to say, "I don't want to do that. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this." And
It's
you know,
burnout as well. Like people,
Yeah.
they'll be like, "We've had it,"
Yeah.
and then something new and fresh will come along. You're like, "Oh fuck!"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which changes the course of.
and you kind of get exhausted by it because it
Yeah.
does well, so everyone kind of gets on it,
Yeah.
and it gets saturated, and
Yeah.
you're just like,
this cycle.
"Oh, how many more of this am I going to have to watch?" You
So
know?
during all of this, whilst you're creating stuff, do you have like a way that you keep making stuff that you like, or do you just go, do you know what? I don't care what's trending on stuff. That's a cool look. I like
yeah,
that element.
yeah,
Do you take elements or?
I'll take elements of things, maybe the way something's lit, but a different backdrop or subject, or a color palette I'll like, and I think I'll go for that. Mainly, it's like, do I like it?
It's a great way to look at it.
And that's fine. That's all
Yeah.
that was. And when I was doing bands for a while, we would write stuff and it would be good, and then we'd be kind of like, right, how do we write something that's going to go? Like, how do we write? What do we need to
Yeah.
write to get to that next level?
Yeah.
And you kind of fell out of love with it a little bit.
Yeah.
And the one difference between a music career that I kind of had and the photography thing is I'm doing it for me, really. And
Yeah.
if people jump on board and they love it, like mint. But I want to be happy with what I'm doing first. There's so much stuff I've done that I've never put out because I'm not happy with it. But other people might love it.
Yeah.
They might think that's amazing. That's a great shot. And I'm like, well, I don't like it, so it's not.
It's interesting that your photography stuff is doing so well now that you've adopted that mantra that you're like, but do I like it? Is it me?
Yeah.
And then it's doing really well because of it. So like,
people feel authentic, like that you can feel. What's the word? Authenticity.
Authenticity.
That comes through sometimes a lot when in any medium.
Yeah.
You look at it, you go, "Oh, this guy's authentic," and then that really pushes through. I can't explain that feeling, but
you see it with you see it a lot with photography. You see it with artists, like Kneecap, people like that.
Yeah.
You're like, they mean it. They mean
You photographed them?
No, I've not done Kneecap. No, I'd love to. I only played bass on some of the stuff on the album though.
Amazing. Do you know what? I saw some photos on your website and I was like, oh great, he's photographed Kneecap. It's actually Melville, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did, yeah. So that photo was like, I've saw his exhibition and I met him a couple of times.
Yeah.
And then I just texted him the other day. I was like, do you want to come to do some shots?
Sick.
I think you could, because you don't have anything like that.
Yeah.
Let's do something. And he came down and brought his own balaclava, which is good. But I do have them in the studio because I have a couple of photos I've done in there before where I'd
balaclavas.
Came up with an idea. It was originally for Hannah Snow and Snowden. So I'd done the shot with her, but I worked with another girl called Kaya, who's incredible model. Like I've done loads of work with her. I think she's great.
Yeah.
Really nice girl. And I told her about this photo. I'm like, basically it's an idea for photo, like really odd light. She's wearing a balaclava. She's like, fuck, I want to do that.
Dope.
I'm like, all right, let's just do it. So she did it, and she's like smoking a spliff, bright red lips, lipstick on, bright red backdrop, really hard lit.
Yeah.
Like, did the photo. I'm like, that's sick. That's fucking great. Really like it. And then I kind of did one with Hannah, like, that it was intended for.
Yeah.
And then, Kay had it as a phone screen saver on her phone because she's like, I can't really post it because my modeling agency might not like it. So, but just on my phone, I was like, that's done. Didn't have to show it to anybody. Like, I think it's great.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with it. Like,
from your circle of like mates and that as well, like the creative circle of friends, like I love how many people have your photos as their like
profile pictures.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
like
that must be like
compliment.
a bit of a compliment.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's probably. It is. Yeah, that's a big one. That when you see people posting stuff, or you see stuff that goes in like Expose magazine, or it goes on the artwork of something, you're like, I took that. And,
you've just captured that person in a way that has made them feel like that's a good presentation of themselves.
Yeah,
good,
I think
good representation of themselves. That's the right word. Yeah,
it's a weird one with like going back to like the gig thing. I kind of quickly figured out like, and this is no like disrespect to people that do this photography, but
no, of course.
like I don't want to take a photo of like the singer on stage.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just them. I'm like, anyone could take that.
Yeah.
I want to take a photo of this a moment to sort of celebrate.
Yeah.
So one of my favourite music shots is actually from the Arctic Monkeys gig at Hillsborough Park.
Yeah.
And it's of the band, but it's through the crowd. So there's people sat on shoulders and they're like tiny in the, on the stage.
Yeah. I've seen it, mate. It's a great photo.
I put it
It's
up
chaotic.
on sale and people would message me saying, that's where I was stood. That's where I was stood, and just takes me back to being there. And and I think it's
like a perspective. But that's what music's about. I think people forget that obviously the band are like what people have come to see, but they're not what people are
kind
seeing.
Of evoking emotion of
what
it,
do you
almost.
actually see at the gig? You see arms, you see limbs, you see beer thrown in the air, and you've got that. And that's,
I want people to like
remember
the moment if they were there, and
that's beautiful.
Like
man.
that. That's kind of my sort of thing for music photography stuff. And
Yeah.
I did some stuff with Milburn once at the Ritz in Manchester a while ago, and my favourite shot of it is I went right up to the balcony at the Ritz and took a photo like down through people, and the band are just there on stage, and it's like surrounded by people. I'm like, that's what I want. That's the moment. Like
that's the you get the heat of the room and like the
you
movement
get
of the
vibe
crowd
of it all, and it takes you back to it rather than just like that's a person on stage and things like that. So
I did when they did comeback gigs must have been 2016. They did like 4 or 5 nights or something at the O2 Academy. I bought tickets to one, and I got asked to DJ another, so I went on after them like for an hour or whatever. One of the nights, but the night that I went, I was in the crowd, and they played like Groove Armada, didn't they, before they go on? They used to always play Super Styling, man. Yeah. And when it kicks in, everyone, like the atmosphere in the room is like electric. So the second night, obviously, when I was DJing, I'd already been in the crowd, so I was like, I'm going to watch, I'm going to observe from like the balcony kind of thing, and just watch the gig, and just really like just enjoy it on like a personal level. But watching the crowd react to hearing Groove Armada, even if they'd been for like 2 or 3 of the nights or whatever at that point, was just you could smell the energy in the room. It was just, it was insane.
They're like my favourite moments from gigs that I've been to that have been mint have been the intro music. Yeah. Which sounds really strange.
You know they're going to come out.
But I'm kind of, I mean, if it's a band you've seen before, so like I remember seeing that with like Monkeys at Brixton Academy or Monkeys at a gig, like, and they'd come out to like, they did one at the Optical once, I think they came out to like Regulate, or it might have come out to, there was a Snoop's Dr. Dre song.
Was it Explosive?
They've done, they did a few, did loads of different ones.
I saw them in Norwich on the Enemy tour, and they came out to Explosive with their collars up. And I was just like, they looked like my mates looked. That was again like part of the allure. I think at the time was just they looked like us. They seemed to listen to music like us. And they spoke about stuff that was relatable to what we were going through at the time, which is why we loved them.
That's
so
why I just remember like just hearing that and being like, oh. There you go. Yeah. Like doing my mates, like get ready.
It's gonna go off.
And like Regulate would come on, and people would go mad. And then it'd be like an Oasis gig, like the lights go, and then you hear that like fucking in the bushes comes on, and pints are spraying, and they look like stars exploding because the lights hitting a pint pot as it's in the air, and they look like these little stars exploding everywhere, and everyone's like. The anticipation of what's to come is like my favorite part of
capturing that moment, man, as well. Like,
even
your description of that there, it's like it's cinematic. It's
Thanks,
I don't know, but it is, isn't it? It's like seeing pints exploding as stars, like that. It's you've got such a creative mind with like image and stuff.
Thank you.
Here's one for you then. So Oasis comeback gigs, obviously. I think I've heard you say on another podcast like you've seen them almost at the best you'll ever see them when you went to Nebworth. If you get a chance to shoot it, you're gonna go.
Yeah, I would. Yeah. If there's an opportunity to get a photo pass.
And when you're down there in the pit and you're looking up and you're like I guess like 13-year-old you at that point, it's gonna be like go back to 13-year-old you at Nebworth.
Would be.
Like,
I mean, I've been fortunate to like meet him a couple of times and
dope, man.
We went to me and John and Chris and Woodhead went to Bridlington Spa to see them play.
Oh shit! Nice.
It was like a warm-up gig for V Festival, so there was only like
was that the last
like
one?
The last one, yeah.
Oh whoa!
So it was like a warm-up gig for that in Bridlington Spa.
Yeah.
So there was like 3,000 people, probably not even that, probably 1,500, 2,000 people.
Best that.
And we'd gone to that gig, and I remember being stood right at the back, but like I have to jump up and down with the crowd, otherwise I'm just gonna get crushed.
Yeah.
And then we got invited back to have a drink with him, and at that time, like if Liam stayed, Noel would go home, and the other way around. And we'd been to Sunderland the week before because John was supporting, so Reverend Makers. It was like,
mate, of course. It's stupid me forgets all this crazy stuff happens in your circle of friends. It's just normal to go out and support Oasis.
So he'd done like a stadium tour with there was like Reverend Makers, Kasabian, I think, as well, and then Oasis. And we got in, and that we'd gone to the Sunderland ground, me and my brother Chris.
Yeah.
And we got invited back for like a drink into the dressing room. And like went into a room, there's with 500 people in it, and then you go downstairs into a room with 200, and then a room with 10, and then a room where it's just them, and you're like, hey lads, you're like, all right, come in, get a drink, all this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I met Noel a few times before that. Brixton Academy, he'd gone to watch Arctic Monkeys, and there's a really good photo of him and our Andy having a drunken chat. Like I think our Andy like drank him under the table, I think. In a nightclub in Brixton underneath a church, which is a bit weird. Well, my stepdad break danced with Stephen Graham, which is very bizarre.
just as you do.
Really strange night. So I met him a couple of times. So
nice
to actually photograph him would be incredible.
Would you prefer to do like live photos of them, or would you prefer to do like studio stuff?
Oh, a studio thing would be.
Yeah.
There's a few people that are on that kind of bucket list of people I'd
it is
like
with
to
the
do a
bucket
studio.
list. Before we,
Noel and Liam would definitely be 2 people I'd love to shoot in there.
Yeah.
Shoot in a studio. Kendrick Lamar would be.
Oh,
and
shit.
Yeah,
I
cool.
would really like to photograph Miley Cyrus.
Do you know what
I think she's
interesting?
cool as
one?
fuck.
She's cool
Yeah.
as fuck. She's
I'd love
really
to shoot
cool.
Miley Cyrus,
Yeah.
which is a bit of a weird one.
No, not at all. I can see
in a
that.
sort of style that maybe I've done with like Joseph and Hannah as well. I think.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Really
Would be
cool,
great.
man. What's the immediate future holding for you? Because there's so much stuff we haven't touched on. Threads, Northern Soul DJing, all sorts of stuff, all sorts of bits, man. But
the
like
shop I had at the Bowery with
the shop you had at the Bowery, man. Fuck yeah,
That was
there's,
mad.
There's so much that I always intend to get onto on these things, and we just talk about everything else, which is great. But like immediate future for you,
I never really set a path out. Really, it's like let's move with what's happening and see what's happening. And I do a lot more sort of video stuff now. I've done a lot of stuff, obviously, with Tom filming that the little Tiny Fagan's pub gig thing.
Yeah, so if you want to see those, they're on Fagan's socials.
Fagan socials and Tom's YouTube channel as well,
Tom Rowley,
or TomRowleyMusic.com. They're on there as well.
Yeah.
So I've kind of filmed those and then do content with John for his Instagram. So we made like the Chef Music City history video
I've seen all those. Yeah, great.
Which was me and my little DJI Osmo and John holding the mic, just talking about a part of Sheffield.
All the mad shit that he knows about Sheffield, all the rivers and
incredible knowledge of
yeah
Sheffield history, John. I learn something every time I'm out with him. When it's just round here on this lot, that's where Robin Hood were, and that's a Knight Templar cross that. I'm like, oh fuck, do you know? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Just behind some council estate in Loxley, it's mad. So yeah, I like doing those, and I don't know, I just whatever kind of goes with the flow, really. And
I love what you sort of said about your studio as well, like how you're bringing other photographers through, and it's really lovely to see, mate. And honestly, like your work is unbelievable. Where can people check out your stuff if they want to find you?
So yeah, the Instagram handle is really weird because I couldn't have Pedalo as a name, so it's like P_E_D_D_A_L_.
Yeah.
Quick, like Pedalo. The name Pedalo is because in lockdown when I started this, me and O'Hara were going out cycling. To break the boredom. And we would cycle around like Dam Flask or something, and then we'd go sit in a pub beer garden.
Yeah.
And he was like, could make this a business. I'm like, yeah. He goes, what would you call it? I'm like, I don't know. And he went, what about Pedalo? We've been on bikes. I'm like, yeah, all right. And it's just stuck now. And
O'Hara's just like, he's so supportive of stuff like that. And
do you know what? Yeah,
you can clearly see that you've got
he'll hate
a
this
talent.
because he won't hate this. He'll love it. There's something about James that I really, really admire, that is wanting to make the city he's in an incredible place.
Yeah.
Through community and doing stuff. Like, you know, Jack worked at Public. I want to do my own place. So he left and set Bench Up, and then Pearl. Joe was the same, I think, with Gatsby. I want to do my own place, set Pena up, you know, and helps people. And I helped me set Pedalo up, and he was almost a sort of an advisor of what I should be doing, and a really good soundboard for things, you know, I'd have ideas for, and he'd help me with. And I really appreciate that. I really like I don't know if there's other places that would run a successful chain of bars, and then you say, I want to go start my own bar. They'd be like, oh, go on then. Off you go.
Yeah.
Not, I'll help you.
Yeah.
Let's make this
it's
better.
more competitive in other places, I think.
And I really
that's
admire
it,
that. I really like, that's a really good quality to have, to want to leave a legacy of making this.
I got
place.
that vibe about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Great.
Anybody wanted to do a shoot with you? Get in touch with you via socials?
Yeah. Just hit me up on the Instagram.
Nice. Okay.
Anything, or pedalophotography.com.
New profile pictures, Dave, me and you?
Yeah, come down, come do some.
Me, you, and an XL Bully in a studio.
We can do that. If we can't find an XL Bully, we'll AI one in.
Fuck, let's do that. That'd be sick.
Let's do that.
Mate, honestly, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you for coming down, man. Thank you.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Banging.
Thank you, guys.
Catch you guys next week for a very short episode. You've had your numbers.
That's it. Wow.